That's rad. Hi, Internet and future us. Um,
Hey.
Hello.
we're here for our weekly game. Did I fucking boop immediately? Okay, no, I thought someone sent me a message on Discord immediately. I was like, really? Um, so yeah, we're here for our weekly game because we're back to being weekly-ish instead of monthly because of the fucking holidays. Thank God. Um,
Completely.
yeah, weekly-ish. Um, but yeah, so tonight we are back to our regularly scheduled game after the party helped save Christmas last week. Um,
Brand's
you do.
just tucking those memories away in the deep dark.
yeah, we're gonna do
No.
two quick recaps. One is the recap from last week in which Saint, the party's best friend, the goodest boy, and the Realmic Sa'an recruited them to help save a beautiful holiday of giving in the northern village of Havelnook. Um, the village
As
of
dogs.
as dogs. Yes, he turned the
Very
party
important
into
distinction.
canine friends to help save this holiday because
They got it.
yeah, it was funny to him. Um, he wanted to connect with you guys on a very physical level for once. Um,
Brand did not ask for this.
too bad. Um, the party played around as dogs within the town, harassed a few of the local townsfolk, and discovered that the problem was that the presents for the children had been stolen out of the town square. The dogs investigated and discovered that they were stolen by creatures living on the outside of town. They went to go retrieve these presents in some way, and going that way, they found two large creatures defending what were apparently the presents. Um, Laffy, Bran, Ren all took on one of the creatures, while the other one was eager to help fight before realizing that it didn't stand a chance and started to run. And Nenia swooped in as the tiny dog she was and ruined that thing's day. Uh, her pent up anger and frustration finally manifested in a doggy flurry of blows. Um, right before dealing the killing blow across both, the dog party discovered that the creatures were actually yetis and they were protecting their young off to the nearby forest, where they had actually taken presents from the town to give them to their young, wishing to partake in this holiday as well.
They're babies.
Yes.
We almost killed them.
Yeah,
I mean,
you really almost did.
par for the course.
The party returned, or the Ren ran back to town in an effort to find a way to fix this situation and found a small human boy that had taken to the dogs and the dogs had taken to him and led him outside the village where they showed him that this is what happened. These creatures just wanted to partake in a holiday. They convinced him through doggy body language that he should go back to town and convince the other villagers that this is what happened and how to fix it. He agreed, at which point the party was told, "Congratulations, you saved Christmas." And
Yeah, we did.
Saint took them back home, and they settled in for the night. Laffy decided to stay up long enough to watch this transformation wear off and discover that it was indeed severe amounts of body horror. Yeah, yeah.
Mist is asleep on Laffy's floors.
There was no magical censorship here. It was just full on like body horror. It was disgusting.
They're gonna walk into the kitchen, and the next morning, and Luffy's just gonna have this like dead-eyed stare. I have seen things I should not have seen.
Now, the greater recap, since this is technically our first real game after the holidays. The party having saved the multiverse, essentially, from the Lich Fridial's greater plan to destroy the plane of Anda, went blah, 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 went off to their own business for about a year. They were then reunited by their good friend Aurelian, who called them back to a shop in Sigil to ask for their aid in something. He sent them off into the nearby Brio Desert that had recently just become available for adventuring to explore a nearby temple and check out what it was about. They went in, discovered that it was a temple to some sort of ancient god. Going all the way into its deepest level, they were then transported to a small forest grove where they found 5 plinths. Plinths. Wow, that's a weird word to say. Bran, after taking a small gemstone that seemingly called out to him from one of the pillars, seemingly activated these beacons, as they soon came to learn. Not sure what to make of this. They went back and reported, and were asked to continue doing this. Over the course of this adventure, they went to the continent that had recently opened up and found the city of Rastin, where they learned about the history of these beings called Realmix, not before stopping off in an island that had come up out of nowhere in their path, and Laffy took up the mantle of champion for this Realmic deity named Kas. Rastin was a city that had been torn in two, thanks to the Realmic of Duality, Raelsh.
Fuck that guy.
His initial blessing and interpretation was to have balance in all things, and with his absence, or seeming absence, the citizenry had taken this concept and perverted it into immortality versus, death. Yes, a half of the society was gifted to live forever in splendor, somewhat frozen in time almost, while the other ones were sent off to the other side, where they lived in poverty and were used to fuel a ritual that would keep the other half of Rastin alive. They solved this dilemma with the help of the actual priests of Raelsh. They sort of banished this inequality and brought back the true duality of the city of Rastin. But not before learning of the true danger here, which they had, at some point during their journey, lighted some sort of light through the astral sea to allow these realmics to return to their creation, not quite knowing why they had been banished in the first place. They were told that these beings were dispassionate, removed from caring about this plane that they had made, for they had made Anda and made it as a concentration of arcane energy, and were on the verge of destroying it at some point for their own whim. The party was then tasked with the quest to journey to the other two temples and complete the tasks set out there to possibly become champions or find a way to stop this from happening. They went back across the sea and have begun their journey down to Alterel, the elven nation that had fallen into ruin after the cataclysmic events of Fridiel's attempt to destroy Anda with the demonic army. Excuse me. We pick up our story with the party having journeyed into the Altoran forest, where they came upon rumors of this group called the Gavels, these justice bringers, people decked in green cloaks and meting out justice and rule wherever they went in this newly lawless land. Traveling further to their destination, they came upon the small town of Forest Gap. Here they ran into the Gavels proper and found that they were led by an old friend of theirs, Eli, an individual that had begun a youthful group of rebellion to push back the oppressive nature of the elven nation in the far past. He had begun the Gavels in an effort to bring law back to this land, to reshape it into an image that he wished for it to be like. After a brief moral discussion and back and forth, he took the party to destroy a nearby demon nest where they found that, yes, there were demons remaining here, and the form of a giant spider had emerged from a nearby cave and was threatening to wreak havoc in the nearby area. The party went in, Ren got eaten by the thing, and... Jesus.
You mean Vord?
Vord, yeah. Yeah, pretty much. They did find that the spider had been infested by some sort of larger demon, and that had been what was fueling this whole thing. They saw that the demons had apparently come through a tear in the world, not unlike something they've seen or things they've seen in the past. A lesser gate spell that only really had an out, not an in. Nenia was able to discover that she suddenly had the ability to stitch this spell closed, to dispel the arcane energy that had gathered to fix the hole in the world. During this, Ren, Laffy, and Bran had had enough of Eli's bullshit, cut off the head of the demon, and presented it to him, telling him to use this as proof of his righteousness, but to keep in mind the discussion that they
he's
had
still a
with him.
little bitch.
Yeah,
And
basically.
if he gets out of line, we'll be back.
Yeah.
He works for us now.
It's here that the party went back to the edges of Forest Gap to rest. Opened up Laffy's magnificent mansion, closed it off, and awoke to find themselves as dogs. And we are picking up the morning after you guys have returned as dogs. Laffy, you have witnessed Mist uncurl from her dog-like shape in this awful cracking of bones and stretching of muscle. And morning has come. Mist, you actually awoke at some point, for you had fallen asleep. And
Oh wow. Miss sleeps like she's dead.
yeah. You had woken up after about 4 or 5 hours, and when you wake up, you find that Laffy is asleep. You are okay. Everything seems to be okay.
Did Miss dream of anything?
No.
She's probably like,
It-
what the fuck? I was just awake and
It was indeed sort of like being dead.
Yeah.
See, Luffy was right.
I mean, Miss doesn't know any better, so she's just like, oh, well.
But yes, morning has come, or what you believe to be morning. You all awake in your own slow, stretching manner. And sooner or later, you all toddle on down into the kitchen that you've become so familiar with over this past close to about a year and a half of adventuring together, leaning into about 2 years, more having known each other. And you all come down groggily, and you see Saint is down at the table, wagging his tail, looking like nothing happened the night prior, actually.
Everyone knows it's different. We're just not going to talk about it.
So you guys are all down around the table, coffee is being served, breakfast is being floated out by these invisible servants that have never been given much of a concept, much less of a shape, due to Laffy's not quite willful ignorance, but just lack of care.
I told you already, she doesn't know that they're supposed to have any manner of, like, physical form, so she just assumes that that's the way they look.
She could have asked at some point.
Would she have? Would they know?
Again, lack of care. Anyway, yeah, you guys are all back down at the table, kind of pointedly ignoring each other for a few minutes as you gather your thoughts on the weirdness that has happened between a few weeks ago for you. Halloween had happened, and now this. So it's been a stranger than normal few weeks.
So the entire time at the table, Laffy looks like she wants to say something, but she's, like, keeping it in.
Yeah, Mist eventually, she's like sitting next to Loppy, and eventually she totally leans over to Loppy and she like whispers, but not really whispers, like it's kind of a stage whisper, and she's just like, it was like being dead.
He just starts laughing.
Ren just continues drinking her coffee like she heard absolutely nothing.
Yeah, Brand's just kind of staring.
Nania might have stared that way, but she'll go back to sipping her coffee and
Brand like gets this weird look on his face, and he like reaches like a finger into his mouth and pulls out like a tiny little chip of wood. And he just like he stares at it for a long moment before just like flicking it off into the distance.
Mist was watching Bran after that, and that she's like, oh right, that reminds me. And she takes out that metal rod, and she's gonna inspect it to see if it's anything more than just a pipe or like.
All right, first roll investigation.
Oh God, here we go. 27.
You give it a long, hard look. You spin it over in your hands a few times, and
It's just a pipe.
it's just a pipe.
Yeah.
It's
She needed to
it's a
make
little
sure.
bit rusty, actually.
Does it look like it was once a good pipe though?
Yeah.
Is it a gold-colored pipe or a silver pipe?
It's
important.
It's not even really. It's gray.
Okay.
Yeah, like it looks like a plumbing pipe.
Yeah, she doesn't say anything. She just inspects it and then puts it away. But she's keeping it.
For the memory.
Yes. And she's like, she looks like she was gonna say something too, but then she pauses and like changes her mind and looks at Loppy and is like, you look like you have to say something.
I stayed up and I watched you transform back into a person, and it was fucking weird.
Oh, how weird. Like, what kind of weird?
It was like
Oh, Laffy, please stop. I don't
That.
just stop.
So, I was like really dead.
Ren, real quick, I need
Yeah.
you to roll a history check.
Alright, hang on. I don't remember what my history is, so, Alright, hang on. I know I have a character sheet here. There we
Somewhere.
go. Okay, there it is. Okay, I never had any ranks in it, so.
Laffy's description is horrifyingly familiar to you.
Oh no.
Is it what I think it is?
Oh, it's totally what you think it is.
She looks like into her coffee deeply. And then she's not gonna say anything else.
Laffy, that sounds amazing. If not
I
horrifying.
almost threw up, but then I swallowed it.
That's gross.
I'm
No, no,
going
no.
to throw up if you keep talking.
Right, sorry.
Well, you know, I thought it might have been like I just exploded into a bunch of tentacles or something. You know, it could have been anything really.
Oh yes, that would have been much better.
I mean, it would have been interesting.
You know,
Brand just loudly sips his coffee.
any of us could just be filled with goo, but we wouldn't know because we've never cut one another open.
I mean, you've cut your arm off before.
I've been
What?
cut open a few times, actually.
Yeah, Rin's been cut open more than the rest of us combined at this point.
That's true, but we already Ren's special.
Yeah,
Is there anything
there's
left in there?
frowning.
Ren looks down at herself. That's actually probably a good question.
Well, wait, you sleep again, right? You think things are like reforming?
I mean, I don't know.
Has your heart beat at all? Does it do that already?
Yes? There's a disturbing question in the tone.
Luffy slowly reaches over, like agonizingly slow, and just puts her hands like where Ren's heart should be.
Roll a medicine check.
Oh, because I got so much in that. But wait, what is medicine? Okay. An 8.
Nice.
That is definitely Ren's skin. You
You
lean
need to
in and
moisturize.
yeah, you put your fingers up against her neck, and yeah, it's a little flaky. It's skin, but yeah, she needs to moisturize.
You're getting a little peely.
I mean, Ren just shrugs.
Maybe we should stop misting you like they do with plants? Like, you were pretty good while we were on the ship.
Wait. Oh, never mind.
No, not that kind of misting.
Sting with an I, not a Y.
Oh, you know how to spell my name. That's nice.
I know how to read, yes.
How often have you seen my name on things?
I don't know. It's on random. Mostly in your journal. Sometimes I
Right.
can.
You can actually read that. That's impressive.
It's not in English or
No,
whatever common.
not always.
Fran just looks disturbed for a second. Doesn't say anything. He doesn't know what to make of it.
Mr. Scrant.
And Bran, you have never noticed anything wrong with it, actually.
Yeah, no, Bran doesn't dwell on that. He's gonna stop thinking about it. He just don't want to know what that entails.
So what are we gonna do now?
Well, we got
aside
those
from
places we
Mystic
gotta
Ren.
visit.
Yeah.
Well, there were those ruins where we're going to go visit. It was kind of the entire reason
Oh.
we came here last I checked.
Well, yeah. Not the ruins from before, but the ones we haven't found yet, I think.
Yeah.
I thought they were near that town.
No, there's well, we looked around, but it just looked like a ruined village. It didn't really look like what
Yeah, there were the other ruins with the tree or something.
Mist starts going through her book to see if she can find anything more specific.
Ren gets another cup of coffee. This is gonna be a 2-cup of coffee day.
If Brent just gets like a fucking tankard of coffee.
Oh, one has to wonder how his heart keeps up.
One has to wonder indeed.
Ren stops, looks at Bran, and then does the same thing. Like, compares her cup to his tankard and is like, that's a good idea, and does the same thing.
Okay, Mist, are you actually gonna look through notes, or do you want some kind of check?
I mean, I could do either thing I'm looking at right now.
You know what? Yeah, look for it.
Alright, yeah, Mist's flipping through her book.
Meanwhile, Saint walks over to you, Bran, and just looks up at you and barks.
Bran just stares at him. He's like, I'm not gonna balk back this time.
His doggy shoulders droop,
Oh!
And he walks over and pads over to you, Ren, and just looks expectantly.
Oh. Ren is like, but I don't have the right vocal cords. And Ren just pats him on the head instead.
He seems pleased with the pats. He stays around for a minute or two while you pat him on the head, scratch him behind the ears a little bit. And then he picks himself up and ambles on over to you, Nenia. And he just kind of hangs out near you, kind of like a support dog.
Gosh.
Someone make an animal handling check. Only one of you.
Oh, only one of us.
Yeah.
I don't think I even have animal handling. Like, at all.
I can make an animal handling check. I don't have it, but I can do it.
I don't think any of us do.
You are
I'm
the
gonna do
paladin
it.
of this doggo. You
Okay.
got it.
Yeah.
She should get
15.
advantage because she's Saint. She's the paladin of Saint.
Yeah. Judging by his body language and how close he's to Nenia, he's concerned.
About. Oh, I guess I don't know about what.
No, you have no idea about what. He's just he thinks she could use some emotional support.
Oh.
Fluffy looks at me.
Well, Nania's, trying to forget what happened yesterday.
Well,
You got
Nenia,
happened for a second.
Nenia did discover her ability to take down a Yeti as a dog, so probably a lot on her mind.
I don't want to talk about it, and she just gives Saint some pet pets, and judging by Ren's comment, she does a boof boof speak to the dog, and is just going to idly pet Saint, and I mean, you all. She just gestures with her free hand.
You know what? I agree. Let's just never speak of this again.
I thought
Thank
it
you.
was fun. I mean, aside from, attacking those creatures.
Yeah. That part. She,
Nearly 5 minutes of my life chasing after Renzwina when she stole a stick.
That was
Ren
amazing.
just
Yeah!
grins at him. You
Never.
Have a little pee on a wall, defecate in public, chase your friends for a stick, live
No.
the good life.
Oh god, I peed on a tree
Precious.
too, didn't I?
Yeah, we were wild and free. It was exhilarating.
Yeah, and you can do it without getting weird looks. You does a lot when you're in a different form.
oh,
Oh, by the way, I found it. We're looking for a great tree that was once worshipped by the elves. And, that sounds a lot like that where I guess the Gavels were heading to. Remember in Sealerai, that giant tree?
Yeah.
Isn't there anymore?
Didn't that get burned down?
Well,
Well,
I'm sure
I
whatever
think-
ruins are there, still there.
Yeah. I mean, does anyone have a map? Are there any other big trees in this forest? Like
We could
really
always
big
ask
ones?
that book that we have, the sassy one.
Yeah,
The
we
one that
could.
doesn't actually know anything much.
I mean, it knows a lot of things. You just got to be specific.
It's the book of implied knowledge.
Yeah, that one. Who has that? Who's
I
carrying
do. I have
Okay.
it.
Who else
I mean-
would have a book?
Fair. Miss takes out the book and she puts it on the table and she's like, I think someone else should ask about directions. I'm not really good with that sort of terminology.
Here, give it to me.
Miss gives it to Ren.
All right, what do you write?
Ren writes down, "Where is the biggest, oldest, most elf-worshipped tree in the world?"
It takes a minute, like a solid 60 seconds, actually. After which, the words on the page fade away and are replaced by two words, and it's Arnway Spire.
Does that sound familiar to Mist at all? Like, just the name of the thing, or no?
You can make a history check.
Alright, it's happening. She's like, what the heck is this?
You know what? Make it at disadvantage because I say so.
Okay.
Because of her shitty directional skills.
Perfect. That's fine. 33.
It was the Arnway Spire is the location where the Elven Council met and where Fridial first exposed himself and the portal to Sigil opened. That was at disadvantage because you're an asshole. You're all assholes.
Wait, I'm sorry. You didn't say exposed himself as a lich. You just exposed
I mean,
himself.
he kind of
Oh,
He
what?
he was a naked lich.
Yeah.
He didn't have any clothing
like
on.
yeah,
I mean,
he did kind of
burst out of the body.
Yeah,
of someone else.
he kind of exposed himself like in the truest sense of the word. He basically burst out of somebody. So yeah.
His big old lich peen flaccidly hanging around the elbow.
God.
I wonder
Hang on.
I wonder if it was like floating free, like you know how his body was like cut into pieces.
You never specified that, Max. You never cleared that up for us.
Oh no, I
It
did
probably
not.
was. It probably was never really necessary to clear that up for.
Yeah, no, you never asked.
You know what?
Oh.
We're asking now.
That's you know what? You can make another history check.
Try to remember the
I'm
floating
sorry,
lich
Mist is
peen.
not considering that
Okay,
right now.
so Laffy and Ren,
Oh
Laffy and Ren, you can make a
But
history
yeah,
check
Miss
to
is-
remember a peen.
oh my god!
Yeah,
She
no,
had an invested interest in her
of course,
penis.
of course, this is where she'd get a crit.
The Ren, you remember nothing. Laffy,
Yeah.
you remember being so totally horrified because this was a man that helped raise you.
Yeah.
And he emerged from this flesh, and another fleshy appendage followed.
Oh my god!
Lord.
Did it fall off at any point?
You don't remember that.
Okay.
Yeah, Miss
Ren-
like, so it was the spy we were at before. That's what
Ren-
that is.
Ren looks at Laffy's like disturbed face, and that just gives her all the answers she ever
Yeah.
needed.
Miss looks at Laffy, he's like, what? Oh. Wait. She tilts her head, she's like, she thinks she might know what Laffy's thinking, but she really doesn't. Like, she's...
It's nothing. I just and then Laffy makes herself burp on command and she's like, gas. It was gas.
Nice save.
I have a question for that.
No. It's fine. Really.
Okay.
That reminds me, actually. Nenia, if you go over to your items and roll 20, you should now have an item card for what I gave you the other day.
Is it gas medicine?
Thank you. Just there. Ooh.
Yes. Feel free to read that to completely break the roleplay for now, or not. It's up to you.
Wait. What?
Her item has a description now.
Yes.
Yeah. Feel free to read it. I just remembered because of gas medicine, so you know.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Let that inform her reading.
Okay. I was gonna be a smartass with the title, but I can't right now. Thread of the Life Weaver. It requires attunement. Your benevolent desire to heal creation and person alike has manifested in the shape of this blessing. A glowing length of divine light has wrapped itself along the top of your staff, twisting into the wood. After striking an enemy with a melee or ranged spell attack, the next ally that deals damage to the target gains a number of temporary hit points equal to half your sorcerer level plus charisma modifier. The enemy is unable to benefit from the effects of stealth and is visible within 30 feet in darkness, both magical and natural, for 1 turn. Outside of combat, you may use the thread of the Lifeweaver to give an ally a burst of vigor and clarity of the mind. You may grant an ally the effects of a short rest, using this feature also cast the spell Lesser Restoration on the target. This feature may be used once per day, recharging at the next sunrise. Cool.
That's pretty sick.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Nice.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. Again, I was just like, oh, I need to bring that up before I forget again. Because it might come in handy at some point, so
Yes.
important to remember. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
Wait.
No, it's fine.
Thought she had that on her arm. I thought that everyone just had weird arms.
I mean, it was on her arm at one point. You guys also did sleep, so, you know. Things happen.
Falls onto her stuff.
So, I know that we were talking about lich dick and stuff, but do we just assume that our characters go to where Sealerai once was?
Yes, you just skip a solid 2 sessions of me carefully planning things out.
We head in that direction.
Max, we don't have time for that shit. Let's go.
Oh my
Clearly.
God.
Ending.
That campaign has a deadline.
Wow.
Max,
Yeah.
you're so lucky that literally none of us have taken teleport.
Well,
Yeah, no, I've thought about that a lot.
If I could, I would.
Yeah,
same.
yeah, I know.
Like, we actually still have travel RP instead of like, well, I'm just gonna bloop over here now.
Yep. No,
Well,
I think
to be
about that a lot.
fair, I don't think they'd want to just bloop over there, all things considered.
I would.
Have them bloop
Yeah.
right into the middle of like a giant crowd of enemies.
Perfect.
Or stone.
Me
That's-
right into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fucking-
Or stone. Or another
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you best believe if you had teleport, you guys would have to roll for that to not happen.
Yeah.
That's the best part. Like,
Yeah.
that is the best part of teleport.
Maybe I just want to kill people from the inside out.
Jesus.
You teleport in and someone just explodes around you.
Perfect.
God.
But yeah.
That's someone's fetish.
Oh my god.
I'm sure it is.
But yes, you guys...
Yeah. It's like,
You-
we need to go back there.
Yeah, the road that you were on initially leads to the remains of Sealerai as far as you were aware.
Do we remember if the Gavels were going in that direction?
They were. At least
Oh.
Mist remembers that, and she wrote it down.
Luffy sighs and is like, I hope we don't see that asshole. What's his name? I always forget.
Which one? The
Like-
one
No.
that we just saw not too long ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully not. We might. I don't know. Probably better if we don't. Especially the way he just sort of, didn't really help at all when that thing ate Ren. I imagine it'd be a lot worse there.
I had it under control.
Did you?
you?
I think it had you under control.
Well, it was terrifying.
Ren just gets like a look on her face like, it's fine.
Well, I don't know which way we're going. So...
We're going that way, says Luffy, and then she starts walking.
We're still in the
Guessing they're out of the
Yeah.
mansion.
You guys were still in the mansion, but
Yeah,
we
she
haven't-
points towards the door.
okay.
Well, I
Left.
mean, I knew the door was that way. I know that much.
Did you though?
Yes, I did. For once.
So, you guys head outside, stopping to actually retrieve your steeds.
No.
Okay, then you leave the
No.
you leave your trusty steeds inside in the mansion. And in
Oh.
fact, when you
No.
pop out of the mansion,
No.
the the door closes behind you and is sealed.
I was joking.
Too bad.
But I can open the mansion like several times a day.
You can. It's just closed right now.
Here's the thing, though. Wouldn't the horses be just kicked out of the mansion?
No, it only kicks out things you don't want to be in there, or else polka dots would always be kicked out, and you don't want that.
But that's why it was so mysterious, because Polka Dot stayed in there.
How many of you know how the spell works in character?
I don't know.
None of you. Shut up.
Listen, wow.
That's new.
Yeah, Brad doesn't know how the fuck it works.
Luffy looks back at where the mansion was like, oh, right. I guess we need our horses, don't we?
Oh, right. I forgot
Ren
about those.
Ren summons hers. I mean, I guess you guys do.
Fuck off. And then
Bran-
she opens
Bran-
the mansion.
Blows his whistle, summoning his Pegasus down from the heavens.
Ugh.
Yep, so, Bran, you blow your whistle, and the clouds that had begun to gather actually part, and a gleaming ray of light beams down, and from within, your Pegasus steps forth, as if it was beamed down from the heavens above. And then, the clouds tumble back together, and the beam of light is gone.
I hate
And
this.
Always wow. Wow.
I hate horses. I hate horses.
Alright, so, Laffy, you go back in and get the horses out.
She gets her stupid mare.
Yeah. Yep.
Nania baby talks her donkey and she leaves it out.
And
This brings faith and help with the swords.
okay. Yeah, Laffy and Nenia, they come easily enough. The donkey is placid and follows you without any hesitation, Nenia. The mare just kind of, it looks at you, or she looks at you, Laffy. Just gives you a long, dumb look.
Oh no.
The mare doesn't even know she's there.
No. No, not at all. And then just starts walking. Thankfully, she somehow, either through smell, hearing, or whatever sight she has, finds her way outside. Mist, you and Vathan spend a solid 5 minutes trying to wrangle this animal. It's actually trying to dodge Vathan. Fear is wide in his eyes, and he's sidestepping and ducking, and even trying to sprint around, but in too enclosed an area to actually get away. Until finally Vathan settles on the bridge of his horsey nose and just glares.
Oh my god.
And he settles down. And at this point you grab him by the it's not the bridle, I forget what it's called. You grab him by the reins and you lead him outside.
As Mist is doing this, she loops the reins around her arm and writes in her book, Vathan is badass.
And now you are all outside. Ren, you are on your mystical, arcane steed that looks exactly how you want it to every time you summon it. And Bran, you are on your majestic Pegasus that looks actually pretty out of place.
Out of place as he does.
Yeah.
Today, Ren is riding a relatively normal-looking horse, but
I was
see-through.
hoping
and
you were gonna say. I was hoping you were gonna say a werewolf horse.
Wow.
I would need someone to draw that for me. I have no idea what that would even look like.
Would it be like a centaur but a werewolf?
No, take the horse's body, replace the horse head with a wolf head, replace the hooves with, like, paws.
God.
That's disturbing.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah, I didn't say it wouldn't be. There you go.
I'm
That's-
inspired.
that was one of those things, it would desummon itself immediately. It's too much of a crime against nature. It would just... It physically could not exist. Anyway, yeah, Ren, you're on your normal, vaguely transparent horse. You guys all mount up, and do you just head on out of town?
Yeah.
All right. You guys all hop back on the road, back deep into the Altoran forest. You leave the town of Forest Gap behind, the quiet little sleepy village, and you see that the Gavels are still camped out. They've not left yet. And you begin traveling down the path. About 20-30 minutes in, the clouds begin to break, and it begins to rain.
Mist just like, is this place wasn't already awful enough?
Friend pulls up her hood.
Luffy just lets it happen.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then
As
she likes it.
as they're riding, Luffy's like, guys, imagine if you were riding on a horse and it tripped.
No.
Well, mine has wings, so it can probably fix itself.
I mean, mine's a magical horse. It's not going to trip.
Are you sure?
Yep.
You know, I'd hopefully float unless it fell on top of me.
Knowing your luck, Mist.
Yeah.
It probably would.
It
Remember
would
that
fall
one
on top
time
of
you
me
lost
into the water, yeah.
You
That, like,
lost a
did
horse to the
happen.
water.
Is that
I
really
mean,
something
I
that
fell
happened?
off the horse, and the horse fell in the water.
Oh no.
How
I
did you
got
ever
it
saw that
back.
horse again? Oh,
No,
did
I got
you?
it back, yeah. I didn't like it, but we got it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So you're unharmed. I mean, obviously, but yeah.
The horse didn't like me. I don't think many horses do like me.
Okay, so
Awkward silence.
yeah, just silence pervades the air around you. The only sound breaking it for a time is the falling of rain and the distant crack of thunder. The road slowly grows muddier and muddier as the rain continues on, no sign of abating. And you don't really lose much time due to Laffy's presence and her uncanny ability to subtly point out the easiest places for your animals to step. But it does slow you guys down a little bit because she is having to point these things out. You continue traveling for the rest of the day. You lose track of time because of the clouds, making the whole world fairly dark. What's up, Mist?
Yeah, at some point, Mist is just gonna casually look around with, like, Eldritch Sight, see if that weird magic shit that was going on in the forest is, like, if it's changing, if it's letting up, if it's getting worse, like,
Make an Arcana check.
alrighty. 28.
It's not really lessening or growing thicker, but you do see the occasional swirl of, you can't quite tell if it's like a wisp or some kind of fey creature or just swirling magic that's, moving around to the wind and the falling rain.
Okay. She kind of notes this, but she doesn't really say anything.
Okay.
Just kind of scowls to herself, like, why isn't this shit going away?
You continue to travel, and the mud begins to grow so thick and so prevalent that it's now splashing up onto your ankles on occasion, leaving everyone kind of a muddy mess.
This is the same thing Luffy experiences every day.
Occasionally there's that low rumble of thunder, but it never grows closer, quieter, or really turns into that loud thunderclap. For now, it just sounds like the gentle snoring of a sleeping giant. On occasion, there's a gap in the trees that show you little offshooted hunter's paths that have become slightly overgrown or the mud is beginning to wash them away. You travel for, again, the remainder of the day, and it begins to grow darker around you. And as it does so, the night closes in tight like a blanket. The sounds around you continue to grow more muted until you can barely hear the sound of your horses, or donkey, or Pegasus, moving throughout the mud. It's like the world is itself growing quieter under the blanket of rain. It's about now that it is fully dark. You can no longer really see the woods around you, save for those of you with dark vision. And even then, you just see the typical kind of vague outlines of things around you. The forest is unchanging as you go.
Yeah, Miss says with telepathy to Laffy, she's like, how long do you think... Well, I mean, she says it telepathically to everyone, but she's talking to Laffy, and she's like, how long is it... How long do you think it's going to take us to get there?
Hey, Max, how long is it gonna take for us to get there?
Make a survival check.
Okay. A natural 20.
Judging by the memories that were spurred on by Mist recollecting where you guys are headed, and your basic knowledge of geography, more or less, you know that it's about a day and a half more travel at a more reasonable speed than you are currently going, but it would only be about half day more, maybe less, if the rain abates.
Well, if he says that.
Alright.
As it continues to darken, and it's now that full forest dark that everyone knows from fairy tales, more or less, where it feels like the forest itself is trying to swallow you. It's about this time that, actually, I need you all to make perception checks.
Oh boy.
Ooh, okay.
Nania.
I was
Okay.
making sure I didn't have extra. So
Okay.
no.
Yeah, no, it's fine. All at once, you all notice, even you, Nenia, with your just very incapable vision.
Not specialized.
Yeah, you do all notice that off to the side there is another of these hunters' paths, but it's a bit wider than normal. It looks like the rain itself has created this path, like it's begun washing away a pathway that used to exist in here but hasn't been traveled down in some time. And ahead of you is still the road that will take you to Alterel, or Silerai.
Oh wow, anyone else notice this suspicious path?
Yeah. I was just looking at that. Can Mist Eldritch sight this thing? She's like,
Yeah.
Laffy said it's suspicious. I gotta look at it now.
Yeah.
Nania's confused by the paranoia.
Yeah.
But she isn't gonna say anything.
Ren, like, leads her horse over to the path and, like, look up and down it.
Okay.
Yeah, is there anything going on with this path?
Um,
Magically.
Nothing unusual compared to the rest of the forest. Ren,
No
make another
more
perception
like-
check.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like, well, there's nothing weird magic there, at least compared to the rest of it.
You see that the path very clearly goes on a bit further, but in the distance, probably about a quarter of a mile down almost, you do see in the distance something behind the trees. You can't make out what it is, but using your dark vision, or not dark vision, blind sight specifically, you do notice that there is something back there. Something solid.
That's only 10 feet around her.
Yeah, well, using
Alright.
using that and everything else.
Alright. She is going to exchange a look with Laffy.
Fluffy
The-
looks red.
The kind of look that says it's scouting time. And she gets off her horse.
Luffy is like, Luffy has that look on her face like, it's time! And she gets off her horse.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, just wait here. We're gonna go get in trouble, maybe.
Brad watches
maybe-
them like take off, and he's just like,
Maybe
all right.
go
And just,
with them.
Brad just
Ren-
gets comfy on his Pegasus.
Ren actually looks at Mist and is like, have your group invisibility ready.
Oh. Okay.
And she goes in actually she looks at Laughing, she's like, can you cast that spell that makes us better
Yeah.
at hiding?
As I say, Luffy casts Pass Best without a trace.
Alright,
Hell yeah.
both of you roll
Right.
stealth.
And she
Maybe
casts
go
it.
with them.
She casts it so that it can kind of get everyone, you know, just in case.
Okay. Well, yeah, Laffy and Ren, stealth.
35.
Jesus. High level stealth is just like, yeah, whatever.
You vanish.
Yeah.
You're all ninjas now.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
Is that with... That's with pass
That's
without...
with.
Okay.
That's with.
Okay. Whew. Yeah.
Ren just doesn't exist.
Yeah, the rest of you guys try and watch, but the two of them are so skilled in vanishing that you lose sight of them immediately. Even in the darkness, they are gone.
This is just like, shit. Vader, just go that way.
So,
goes the general direction in which Miss thinks they're heading.
you guys, you travel remaining stealthy. You're somewhat low to the ground, taking care to keep your footsteps light. And again, thanks to Laffy, Ren, you are able to not fall behind thanks to the mud.
Yeah, Ren kind of keeps within like 10 feet of Laffy to make sure she can see where, well, quote unquote, see where Laffy's going.
After about, it takes probably about 10 minutes moving at the pace that you guys are to approach what you saw. It
What do we
seems...
see there?
Yeah, what you see with your non-elf or with your half-elven eyes and human eyes are, you see a structure looming in front of you even. It has like a gray stone mat to it, and there's mud caked into the nooks and crevices, just these dark splotches. And you see off to the side there is what looks to be like a nook almost, like an indentation in the building, and you creep further and you notice that, yeah, this is a fairly large building, but it looks like it had been covered in mud until recently. Like this rain has given it a bit of a washing, and it's wrapped up in kudzu and grown over. And you look up and you do see that the spire of the building is kind of drawn to a peak, like a church almost. But it goes high enough that you cannot see it anymore. And you move over to the nook carefully, and you do see that there's definitely, it's an entryway, but it is completely overgrown with these thick vines of, again, kudzu that has probably choked out whatever it's wrapped around now, and moss, and there's still mud caked into whatever is standing between you and an entryway of some sort.
Alright, Ren is going to use a dagger, and she's going to use sleight of hand, and she's going to, like, try to, like, as delicately as possible, open up like a way to get in here.
Okay, yeah, roll your sleight of hand.
Luffy with communicator. We found a building. It's kind of shit.
Oh.
Okay.
Should we go over or should we wait here?
Nah, just wait.
Right.
Ren, it takes you 2 to 3 minutes to actually find a little place to start cutting through because of how tightly bound this nature has grown over this. But eventually you slip your dagger in and begin sawing away at one of the vines, and then another, sort of like you're cutting away a spider web. And yeah, after about 2 more minutes, you cut a hole into it, and you see that there's a large wooden door in front of you now.
She gives it a tentative push to see how much it does it budge at all?
No.
Okay. She starts she reaches her hand into the hole she's made sort of behind these vines, and she's feeling around for a doorknob or a knocker or something.
Okay. You don't feel anything necessarily. You feel grooves in the wood, like there's something carved into it, but you don't feel any obvious way to, click the door open.
Okay. Huh. If she... Weird question. If she knocks on the door, does her blind sense let her see what shape the grooves are in?
Yeah, why not? I need you to make a perception check for me, though.
Sure.
Handy dandy perception. You knock, and the echo gives you this vague sense that, it's just kind of grooves like it's the bark of a tree. There's no real specific pattern to it necessarily.
Okay.
But your blind vision does show that there's a large seam down the center.
Oh. Alright, she moves her hands she moves to push on the seam with one hand on each side.
Okay, to do so you actually have to pull apart the vines a little bit, and Laffy, you notice this the whole time. Ren is actually tugging the hole a little bit bigger in the vines, and you give it a little nudge, and the door buckles a little bit, but doesn't quite open. It feels like it might require more force to open.
Alright. She's gonna put her back into it.
Alright, I need you to roll.
Luffy looks at Ren and she's like, are you needing help?
Ren just puts up a hand. She's like, I have this? She doesn't have this.
Roll a strength. You got nothing. You shove and you grunt and you're and no.
And then she looks at Laffy and she she looks at Laffy and she moves aside and she's like, okay, your turn.
Ren, as you move to the side, there's a distinctive come out of your back. For a second, there's just this sharp pain, and you're just shit.
Give me, I'll be fine.
All right. Who has the higher strength here?
Oh, probably Ren. Probably Ren. I only have 10 strength.
Yeah, Ren also only has 10 strength.
One of you roll it with advantage, then.
I will roll.
Okay.
In which doors are great enemy.
Between the two of you, you start to push the door open, and there's this grinding noise as the doors start to part, and there's this quiet snap as the vines that were still wrapped around it begin to pull inwards and just snap apart. And you take a good 30 seconds of shoving, just and you open the doors enough that you guys could easily slip through. They're neither shutting nor closing. They feel firmly in place where you have pushed them.
So, do we want to just be going through the doors without the others to scout, or...
I mean, there may be something dangerous in here that we wouldn't want coming out and eating them, perhaps.
Well,
I hope Luffy's giving Ryan a look.
yeah, it's definitely a look. It's that man blinking gif.
I saw that GIF like originate, and it's so surreal that it became a thing.
She's just like, that if there is something dangerous, wouldn't we be wanting the others with us?
I mean, if it doesn't notice us.
Okay, you know what? Luffy lifts her finger. Luffy's gonna look inside and like peer around and listen for anything that sounds.
Meanwhile,
Right.
Vathan,
Oh god. Yeah.
Mist, you catch sight through Vathan's eyes of your two idiot friends peeking into this doorway and Laffy just shoving her whole head in.
No, she doesn't shove her whole head in.
Okay, so she like half her head.
Yeah.
She's still sneaky.
Yeah, no, she's still sneaky. It's just significantly less sneaky since you've opened a door and, but yeah, you peek your head in and make a perception check. But Mist, you see this now.
Yeah, okay.
23.
Well, immediately you notice that it is very dark in there.
Yes.
And it smells a bit old. And you do see that it goes beyond your sight for sure, but there are two braziers near probably about 30-40 feet from within, or from within striking distance of you. You see the very vague outline of them.
Miss, waits a little while and then says in her communicator, "Do you see anything, Luffy?"
Yeah. Yeah, I see, two braziers, and I don't trust lingerie, so I guess you guys should come over.
Ah, I hate you. You suck. I'm gonna come into your room and kick your ass.
I was debating on whether or not I was gonna steal.
Yeah. Okay. Miss,
God damn it.
alright, well, I guess we're going where they went. Vathan's that way. Mist gets off her horse and
Ren just
tries
says,
to lead the horse.
Ren just says into the communicator, she's just like, use your invisibility, just in case.
Oh, okay, but what about the horses?
What are
I don't
you
think I
about
can
to
get
do?
all the horses.
I don't know. Luffy said something about lingerie.
I mean, I didn't.
Fuck.
I don't see anything.
What?
Right.
You've all got disadvantage on everything for the rest of the session.
Oh my god. Jeez.
I think you upset him.
You okay, friends?
No. Continue.
Well, if he's just like, leave them, the horses, they'll just hang out.
Or we could
Okay.
tie him up somewhere. Also, I have a question about your staff. Is it glowing in the dark? With the
By,
thread in it?
by
Or-
itself, no, but if you'd like it to, it will.
Oh, okay. Well,
Okay.
we'll leave it be for now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Miss gets off the horse and ties it up to a tree and leaves it there.
Nania tends to hers and Waffy's horse if it'll let her.
Mist's like,
Bran
"You're
just-
sure you want me to use invisibility?"
Bran
Now-
doesn't leave his Pegasus tied. He knows Pegasus will stay. or it'll go away and then come back when he needs it.
I mean, if you, I don't know what we're up against here.
How about I use it when we all get there? Because we're not going to be able to see each other when we're going over there.
I mean, I can sense when you're nearby, but
I mean, I could see everyone too, but that doesn't help them, does it? Mist is speaking as she's going over to where Vathan is. She's trying to be careful about it. I mean, I guess you could roll stealth, but it's not going to be great.
You could absolutely roll. You still have the effects of Pass Without a Trace on, too, so.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, you guys do get a +10 to your stealth.
Alright.
Uh,
So she's trying to be careful, but,
Okay.
Mist and stealth.
Is Bran gonna stealth or just kind of trudge on through?
Yeah, Bran will be stealthy.
Okay, then you guys roll your stealth up.
okay.
I don't even remember. I never use it.
Dex.
Yeah.
Dex plus
Oh,
10.
damn. Okay, so 30. Mist is on this shit.
20.
There we go.
Bran
Damn.
vanishes.
Alright, yeah, you guys all...
We're all surprisingly stealthy.
Yeah, you somehow, likely due to the cover of rain, you are able to slither along. It takes the three of you significantly longer than it took Ren and Laffy to approach. But it only takes about 20 minutes total for you guys to wind up next to Ren. And Ren and Laffy, did you guys do anything in these 20 minutes, or are you just waiting?
I probably had a thumb war.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Who
Oh
won?
my god.
I don't know. Should we roll for it?
Yeah.
You would both like to.
What do we roll?
Dexterity.
Alright.
Or attack rolls. Which one? Are you playing aggressively or fun?
I mean, Ren's not trying to take her thumb off, so.
Yeah, I mean, Laffy's she's bored.
Okay.
What's wrong, Ren? Don't you want to play to win?
Natural 20.
Oh my god.
It is the most powerful tie. There's this pitched game where you're both trying not to lean into each other's hand too much. You're both trying to play by the rules as well as you can. And like two angry teenagers trying to make love, nothing happens.
Amazing.
Ethan is weirdly impressed, but also
So we're-
not at the same time.
So as the others approach, suffice to say, Laffy and Ren are just holding hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Bran
like-
doesn't even question it.
Like slightly aggressively.
Slightly
no,
aggressive hand
Bran-
with it.
Bran knows better than to even question this kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah, Mist kind of looks at them and is like, that looks pretty intense right there.
Laffy immediately removes her hand and is like,
Yeah, same.
yeah, so we gotta go inside.
All right. So you saw. Is there anything we should really be expecting?
Darkness.
Welcome back.
Thanks. Nenia huddles close at the word darkness.
Yeah. Mist would absently hold her hand out because I like to imagine that Nenia just grabs onto Mist's robes a lot when they're in dark places.
Whoever's closest is gonna get some rope grab at Nenia.
Well, Laffy is gonna, go check for traps, I guess, at the entrance.
Okay, roll a sleight of hand.
Oh, well, okay, you know what she's gonna do? She's gonna look at Ren.
Actually, no. Yeah,
I
that'd be investigation to find the traps. Sorry.
Yeah. Ren can disarm them, but she can't
Yeah.
find them worth shit. No, wait, she's good at investigation, but it's fine. Usually it's
Yeah,
second.
Mista's looking around for weird magic shit as she.
I rolled a 13.
You don't find any traps. You occasionally tug on one of the vines by accident, and something really funny happens in like 6 seconds. But yeah,
Oh my god!
thank you for getting that bad joke.
God.
Anyway, yeah, you don't find any traps.
Luffy's like, well, let's go. And then she just goes lunch.
Okay.
Yeah, does
You
Mista
know?
see any magic shit? Or...
No.
No. Okay.
So the sliver that you opened is only wide enough for you to move in one by one. What's the order?
Ren.
Okay.
Well,
Ren
after
goes.
Laffy, I
Alright,
guess.
so Luffy, Ren.
Mist will go then.
Many will be holding on to Mist.
I forgot to. There we go.
Bran brings up the rear.
This is vaguely what the entryway looks like, just darker. Because you know it's really hard to find something at night. Anything at night.
Yeah.
It was hard enough finding something that doesn't have a fucking sun ray in it. Everyone's like, "Oh, trees, sun rays." Like, no.
You gotta.
Anyway, yeah, you head in, and immediately,
The saint come with them.
of course, Saint's there. He's always there. Just assume he's always there,
Alright.
unless I say otherwise. And you guys head in, and you're all kind of immediately assailed by this musty old smell. It's definitely still very dark, and everyone's dark vision, except for Nenia, continues to show them that everything goes on farther than their vision. The two braziers, are still there, and as you go in, you do notice that they are tucked up against two pillars, it looks like. And beyond that, there's significantly more room. Do you guys
Yeah.
keep on walking in, or?
Yeah, Mist is
Yeah.
like, well, I don't see any weird magic anything floating around here.
Okay.
Anyone want to light some light? One of those things over there. I think it's a bad idea to light those things over there.
I mean, maybe. You guys, do you think that there's benefit in just minding our own fucking business in this instance? And
When do we ever?
yeah,
Well, here's the thing, right? So we are looking for like a temple, and I noticed the structure of this sort of resembled like a religious kind of building. We might find something of use here.
Maybe.
Maybe not, but we might.
Alright.
At worst, there's monsters lurking in the corner.
I mean, yeah, at worst there's a lot of weird things happening, but doesn't look like anything came in here recently, at least. So, does anyone want to light anything?
you know, sure. Let's just put our cards on the table and see what happens.
Brand pulls out a torch from his pack and lights it.
Okay.
I thought we were gonna light the braziers.
I thought
The
thought we decided not to. All right,
Doesn't
fine.
matter. Anything's fine.
So, Bran, you're like halfway to striking a match up against the torch when this little argument happens. And you roll your eyes and shrug and drop the lit match into one of the bowls. And as it does, or as you do, the light catches almost immediately. And a nice, pleasant orange light flares up, and you guys are suddenly the musty dust smell is replaced by a kind of acrid but minty smell.
Hmm.
And the light now shows you that this is a relatively large room. It doesn't cast light on the entire thing, but there are shadows that flicker to show you that there are more pillars, and hits the edges of what seem to be like doorways, where the light catches and then vanishes into more darkness. And you notice 3 of these. One to the left of you, one ahead of you, and one to the right of you.
How big was this structure from the outside?
You didn't actually see the back of it, so you don't know.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was surrounded by thick forest.
Mist is kind of thoughtful, and she sort of glances over to Nenny and is like, "Can you feel anything here?"
Maddie is always nervous when she asks that. Okay, she'll put her attempted magical feelers out there to see if she can feel something.
Okay, roll religion.
Okay.
Oh no.
You are a little too, nervous. It's definitely a place.
Well, it's definitely a place.
Is it not?
It is. I just need
It's
a moment
alright. Yeah. No,
to
take your time.
adjusting to the light from sun and darkness to
Okay.
light, I suppose. And she'll just
Let
kind
me
of
know if you pick up on anything eventually.
sure. She shuffles off a mist and she doesn't say sure. I'm sorry. She's like right, okay, and she'll shuffle off of mist and try to help looking around.
Okay.
Yeah, Mist is looking around now too.
Okay. You don't stray too far from the orange light, and as you're moving around, you see that the floor is actually relatively clean. There's dust, and it's largely untouched. It doesn't look like anyone's been here for quite some time, from what you can tell. There's not much strewn about. There are nearby the outlines of what might have once been chairs or benches. But from what you can see without straying too far from the light, you don't see a ton.
Are there any, like, symbols or markings carved into, like, pillars or the walls or
Make
on the floor?
make investigation.
Alright. Investigation. Eh.
No,
Very mediocre.
you cannot. You cannot discern anything special.
Okay.
What are the rest of you guys doing in here?
Is this room like fairly nondescript? Like,
Yeah, as far as you can tell, it doesn't look important.
well, and she'll open up the nearest door.
Okay. You shuffle off to the door on your left. And, you notice that it is a shut door, but you give it a little shove and it opens easily with a soft creaking noise. The light only travels so far and casts these deep shadows amongst the wall, while giving you the outlines of shelves, almost? Divots carved into the walls.
Friend's gonna at this point cast dark vision on herself.
Okay. When you do so, the room comes into slightly more clarity, and the flickering light combined with your dark vision does show you that there are, indeed, like divots carved into the stone walls. And you see that there are objects placed along these shelves. You can't quite tell what they are immediately, though.
Is there another brazier in here as well?
Brazier. I'm gonna come fight you all. Uh, yes, there is one near the entryway.
All right. She'll light it up. With,
Okay.
Like,
You pull out a little match and you strike it and drop it in, and again there's that flare of orange light, and that minty smell replaces the must. And this room is full of the walls are gouged into with each of these little shelf-like things holding a number of objects that you again can't quite make out what they are from the entryway. And you see some freestanding things that look almost like bookshelves, but they don't have backs. They just go all the way through, and you see more things lined up against these.
Ren's gonna go in and investigate.
Okay.
Yeah, Miss looks over when Ren's opening a door and is like, "Do you see anything in there?"
There are things. And Ren goes inside.
What kind of things?
Mist is gonna go over there.
Yeah, Bran's gonna follow.
Okay. Yeah, you guys head in, and you all see the same thing Ren does. These little shelves and racks. And you guys walk over, and I want the three of you to make investigation checks.
Okay.
Hey, that one's better. 22.
Okay.
Mist is also constantly looking for magic. I'm just not gonna keep saying that, but
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you
that's
know.
happening. Cool.
Oops. Wait, no, that wasn't me.
What?
I was like, wait, what? I got
Okay.
confused for a second. I thought Rin's role was mine.
Okay. Laffy and Nenia, by the way, what are you guys doing while they head into that room?
Oh, I was just gonna assume Laffy was heading into that room too.
Yeah, Nadia's keeping close with him, but she's also like trying to get a sense of the place after Mist asked as well. So
Okay, then you two also roll investigation.
okay.
Oh no.
Okay. Ren and Mist, you guys head over to one of the shelves carved into the wall, and you notice that there are various tools. Some are made out of stone, some are metal, and some are some metallic substance that you can't quite gauge just looking at it.
Ren's gonna pick him up and
Okay.
like her investigation is pick up and look at it.
Okay. You pick up some like scissors, some long knives, and the knives are made out of this strange material, and they don't look like they're really apt for combat necessarily. You could surely harm somebody with them, but they're too flimsy to really jam into somebody and fight with.
That's unfortunate.
Um,
Ren thinks too. No, Ren says aloud, not realizing she's speaking aloud and is in fact thinking to herself.
It's like, what?
What?
Mist,
Unfortunate.
you find like glass jars that are knocked over and broken. Some of them are about the size of like a coffee mug. Others are tall cups. And you can't find anything in them, but some of the glass is thicker than other pieces of glass.
Does it have a shape that might be like alchemy kind of tools? Like,
Some
would it
of
be
them.
like potions? Okay.
Some of them have that long tapered neck, while others are very clearly like mason jars. And some of them are again just kind of like cups, like they don't have a top. Laffy and Bran, you guys head over to the racks, and you see similar things, but you see more preserved or unbroken of these bottles. Some of them have a small amount of what you would guess is liquid inside of them still. And you find a few more of those tools, but some of them are like discolored, rusted in some cases, You don't see any of those special knives, though. And Nenia, you joined them, and you can't really tell much. You're very distracted by this place.
Alright.
Brand's gonna pick up one of the jars with, it looks like it still has liquid in it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna try to open it up without breaking the jar.
Okay. You very carefully tug on the somewhat decayed cork. And you give a sharp little tug, and as you do so, you feel the cork crumble in your fingers, but it's the bottle that you've unstoppered is now unstoppered. And there's no smell coming out of it. And you look down and you hold it up to your eyes, and you do see there's about a fingernails amount worth of some kind of liquid inside of it. And it's just this clear liquid.
Brand kind of looks at it for a second, then he turns to Laffy and hands it to her. Any idea what you got, or what this is?
Laffy's gonna smell it.
Make a perception check, you.
Well, can't believe I rolled a fucking 2.
When you... Do you waft or just shove your face into it?
She kind of just shoves her face.
Okay, you shove your nose up against it, and it's acrid and like bad alcohol, like really old. Not drinking alcohol, though. I mean, technically you could probably drink it. Who am I to judge? But, you know.
You would die.
Probably
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
Well, it smells like that kind of alcohol that you're technically not supposed to be drinking.
Well, let's not drink it then.
I mean,
Like
Not if you
a,
don't drink it!
it got fine.
Shrugs.
Not yet, anyway.
You do what you
No.
want.
Yeah, you can do what you want, but, you know, we might want to just have an idea what this is first.
I think
Nah.
it's they used to store. Well, sometime back in the day, my mentors would put like livers and stuff in jars. Maybe it's like that.
Did you used to drink that stuff, Luffy?
No, that'd be
Rick just
bad.
cracks up.
Nenia,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I guess if you're used to it, then you can do what you want.
I'm just going to take your word for it.
What's up, Nenia?
Nadia wants to check it too. Put her
Okay.
medical know-how to
Reach
use.
over and you snatch it from Laffy.
Nadia
there-
apologizing. She doesn't want anybody drinking it. Okay.
And yeah, you waft it like a responsible person. And yeah, it just barely, but it smells like preserving fluid.
Oh, you're not wrong, Fluffy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The necromancers here.
Yeah,
Hey,
Miss.
Nick.
Doctor here.
Oh, yeah. I guess that too. That also makes sense.
A bit more believable than more necromancy.
Is it though? Man, Miss is
Probably.
actually looking over Ren's shoulder at like the weird knives she's holding.
Ren has pocketed that knife.
Oh, is there more than one?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a good handful of them.
I was
Miss is
thinking
like-
about that Simpsons screen cap of whoever it is holding 2 knives. Like,
Millhouse?
Yeah.
no, the bartender.
Oh.
No.
oh,
Yeah, he's holding 2 knives, and he's just like, "This feels great."
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Mist is looking over these. Do they look like they might be like ritual knives, or do they look like, as people have been saying, like they might be some sort of medical instrument knife thing?
Thanks to everyone like talking about it, and you raise it up, and you do notice it's made out of that same strange metallic substance. It does not look like a ritual knife, and it still looks incredibly sharp.
Yeah. Mist like picks one up and goes over to Lappy and is like, you know, I never got that much into necromancy, but would you use these to cut things up and stuff? They look pretty sharp, but they're not like ritual knives. No, they don't really look like Ren's knives either.
Does it look like a scalpel?
Yes.
Yeah, we'd use those to cut people up.
Okay.
They slice folk up real good.
So, this is like either a place for medicine or experiments.
Or both.
Perhaps even both. Let's not limit.
Yeah, no, that's... possibilities are endless. Mist decides to hold on to this thing too because she's like a tiny klepto and
She has leftover
Tall
dog.
Klepto.
Yeah,
She's not a
Yeah.
tiny klepto.
yeah, no fair.
and some of her previous journey as a dog is still rubbing off.
You don't know when you might need it.
Yeah. But other than those things, this room doesn't have much else in it.
Are there any other doors in this room?
No. There's just the doorway out, but there were more doors in the big room. There was
Okay.
2 more.
So Mist takes a final cursory glance around, and if she doesn't see anything that catches her eye, she's gonna look out and try to go to one of the other doors.
Okay. Yeah, you peek out and nothing really catches your eye immediately. So do you head to the door at the far end of the room or to the right of the room that's directly across from where you are?
She's gonna go to the one across.
Okay. Immediately
Oh.
you walk up to it and you notice that there is a door that is overgrown, much like the entry door, but not nearly as sturdy looking.
Okay. She's gonna like... She doesn't really expect it, but she's gonna check for traps anyway. Or any, like, you
Okay,
know,
yeah,
weird
investigation.
thing. Yeah. 27.
You don't see any... There's no traps that you can discern.
Okay, so she's gonna, like... If it looks sort of overgrown, she's gonna try to clear the stuff out of the way and
Okay.
like, gently try to push through
Okay.
whatever the door, open it however it needs to be opened,
Yeah,
without like
you-
fucking it up.
You take a few seconds and tug down some of the vines, and they fall away easily enough, and then you lean on the door and give it a little push, and it doesn't slide open as much as it grinds open. Grinds inward. And there is a rather large room in front of you. The light, again, only reaches so far, and your dark vision only shows you so much. But within, you see several tables, as far as you can tell, lined up against the far wall. And near those tables, towards the other end of the wall, that's on the opposite side of the door, you see these tall, like, opaque cylinders.
Oh boy, okay. Yeah, Mist she's really curious about this. She sort of beckons Vathan over to, like, land on her shoulder, and, is there anything she can light in this room to light
Yes.
it up some?
Yes, there's another brazier.
Alright. She probably prestidigitations that.
Okay. A little flick of your wrist, and the light sputters and then sparks to life, and that same, like, mint smell and
Yeah,
it casts...
she's taking note of that.
Okay. It casts light into the room, and you see 5 plinths, or just small, like, pedestals in the center of the room, and you see again on the far end of the wall, there's several of those cylinders. There's about 2 that are the size of an elf. There's 2 on the floor that look like they've either been knocked over or were just oblong lengths against the floor. And then there's one that's relatively squat and a little bit round. And then there's a pretty small one. It's about, I don't know, 4x4.
Mist is like, she's getting some weird feelings about this right now. She seems like she's gonna say something, but she kind of forgets to say something, and she's going in the room. Like, she's still, her eyes are darting all over the place now. Like, she's looking for symbols, she's looking for weird things on the floor that, you know, might be traps. She's gonna go and look at what these fucking plinths are, or the pedestals. Yeah,
Give me an investigation check at disadvantage.
Oh boy.
Since you are trying to take in so much at any one given time.
18.
You don't notice any traps or anything strange along the ground, and as you pass by them, you take notice that there's a 6 plinth that's settled about a foot in front of the others, closer towards the oblong or opaque cylinders. And you head up and you pass by one of the tables and you see the remains of, like, leather spread open, and like a kind of desiccated looking like quill almost. It looks very old.
Okay.
And you head up into the cylinders and they're opaque. You can't see anything inside of them. You can't even tell if you should be able to see anything inside of them.
Can she... I mean, First of all, what are the others doing? Because Mist is just gone in this room. she's gone. She hasn't said shit.
Laffy's gonna follow. And she's gonna go look at one of those pillars that done fell down with the thing that's probably inside of it. Just, like, suspiciously human-shaped or elf-shaped or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's gonna be looking at that. There's no way to see inside of it.
You can make an investigation check.
Okay, cool.
While she's doing that, what are the rest of you guys doing?
Bren will check out the final room.
Okay.
Brand's just kind of like wandering around the room that Mist and Laffy are in, not really looking for anything in particular, just seeing if he sees anything else that stands out.
Okay, make an investigation check for me, Bran.
Okay.
Laffy, you lean in close and you take, like, your wrist and rub it up against the surface, and you do feel that it is slick and glass-like, or crystalline almost. And you rub, and you can't really make any difference, but it's definitely, again, like, crystalline. And Nenia, what are you doing, by the way?
That wasn't what she was looking for.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying you can't see into it.
Oh, well. Oh, okay.
Nenia followed along with everybody, and she's kind of checking the tables.
Well, did she go with Ren or the rest of them?
The rest of us.
Bren's being a lone wolf.
Ren's doing what she does.
My god.
Okay, Bran. As you're walking, you catch sight that there are some chairs along the edges of the room. And you see more of those, like, alchemy bottles. And these have, like, a crusted, coppery look to the bottom of them. And some look like they might have once had a label.
None of them have labels on them now.
No, it's just all worn away.
There's nothing in them.
In the bottles, no, but again, at the bottom, there's this kind of copper discoloration.
Well, Bran doesn't really know enough about, like, alchemy or things like that, but he takes one of the bottles and kind of keeps it with him to probably give to, like, Ninia or Laffy.
Okay.
Have them check it.
And Ren, in the final room, you don't. It's not blocked off, and you walk in, and this one is a lot bigger than the one you were in prior. And you see the outline of stone slabs. And you can't count how many of them because the room is too deep for you to see into all the way. And you see tattered remains of, like, cloth in between the the 4 slabs nearest to you.
Huh. She lights the brazier in this room, if there's one.
Thank you. As you do so, again, that minty smell, and as the light spreads out, you see about 6 more of those not marble, just stone slabs. And in between each one, there is tattered remains of cloth that is beginning to tear away and just rot. And you see what are probably rotting chairs set next to some of the stone slabs. That's all you see, though.
I mean, she'll like pick up one of the sheets.
Okay, you walk over and you rub it between your fingers, and it's cloth. But it does kind of flake away in your fingers.
All right, so what I'm getting is this is a morgue. Is that what it looks like to her?
You can make a perception check.
Sure. She thinks that this is a morgue.
Yeah, she thinks it's a morgue.
Oh. I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a rock nearby?
Oh no.
Yeah. It's not too big, but it's about fist-sized.
I smash the rock into the crystalline thing.
Make a strength, or make a melee attack roll using your strength.
Using my strength, I can't just unarmed strike?
Nope. Well, unarmed. Yeah, no. You have to use your strength because dexterity is not going to help you with this one.
7.
You bring down the rock hard, and it splinters, and you hear a cracking sound. And when you pull the rock away, you do see that there's spiderweb cracks, and what looks like the beginning of a hole.
I do that again.
Okay, the second strike does it. You bring down the rock hard, and there's the sound of shattering glass.
Mist looks back immediately.
Yeah, that gets Bran's attention. He's like, what the fuck was that?
Luffy, like a horrible raccoon caught sorting through the garbage, looks at the others looking at her, rock in hand.
Mist, like, she kind of snorts. Like, Buffy. Alright, what did you find?
From within, there comes a thin trickle of that alcohol-smelling liquid mixed with a copper discoloration, but nothing else falls out.
Luffy has a look-see inside. What does she see?
Make a perception.
25.
You see a lump of something at the bottom.
Oh god.
Huh.
It is.
Okay.
It is overall longer than your arm, however.
So I can't just reach it.
No.
Is there a stick nearby?
Oh my god.
No.
Luffy's gonna roll the crystalline thing slightly to the side. That way, whatever is inside has to move with the hole.
Okay. You do that, and there's this kind of sound coming from within.
Luffy has a look inside again.
Okay. Yeah, the lumpy matter is closer. Possibly within arm's distance.
Does it look like a people?
You have no idea.
Damn it.
It
Thinks
is.
it looks like a peep.
Yeah, it is old and just kind of this lumpy mass of something.
Yeah, Mist comes over and is like, oh, you trying to break this thing open to get what's in there?
Luffy's like, no, I'm not like an Otto with a clam. I just...
Well, here's the thing, I'm curious too.
I hate that I made Luffy a ranger because she's supposed to have high wisdom, but that's not fun. No. So hi, I'm Luffy. Welcome to Jackass. What she does, she sticks her hand in the fucking thing, in the fucking test tube.
Alright, you reach your hand in and actually grab this thing.
Yeah.
And you yank it out. And it's this lumpy, spongy fistful of... You have no idea, but it's gross. It feels like you're grabbing onto old Jell-O.
Ew.
Yeah, you know, like when Jell-O gets skin?
This feels like grandma tip.
Oh.
Ugh.
That's an image I didn't need.
Can you get it out, or is it just in there?
Luffy
You pulls your hand out, and yeah, your arm is free, and you're holding this thing.
What does it look like?
A lump.
of me.
Kinda.
What color is it? Like...
It's gray. Yeah, it's real gray.
So it kind of looks like meat.
Kinda,
Has Luffy
yeah.
ever seen anything like this working with necromancers?
Yeah.
Make a history.
Okay. This is
no.
7.
I mean, you've seen lots of meat. This looks like it. This looks like it could be jellied meat.
This looks like meat. It's meat. It's just old meat. I bet it's a people.
You know, they are the right sizes for that.
I bet they were experimenting on things.
Can
Luffy
Mist-
puts her arm back at the crystal.
Can Mist, like, this mystery, like, her body's family was pretty fucked up and did a lot of weird shit to people. Can she remember anything that might be similar to this?
You make a history check.
Alrighty. Here we go. Oh, whoops, sorry. That's still
Well,
a disadvantage.
yeah, the 31 works.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are a whole lot of weird rituals that would use a test tube, especially a big one.
Yeah.
You can't pin down any, but there are definitely experiments and stuff one could do.
Yeah, Mist is just like, well, there are definitely a lot of things that one could do with something like this, so you might be right with the experimenting. Mist is actually gonna go over to those pedestals now and take a look at those.
Wait!
What?
Luffy
What?
goes and she puts the meat back inside the tube and she...
At least she was polite enough to put it back where it was.
And she holds out her dripping, disgusting hand and is like, help!
Mist pressed the digitations Luffy's hand.
Alright, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nenia, what are you doing?
After being appalled by that, and Mischief going off to look at pedestals, Nadia's gonna look around and ask, oh, where's Miss Renslina?
Oh, she's
Bran
Well,
looks
Ren-
around.
Ren is in the process of attempting to open the slabs. Does it look like they open?
No.
yeah.
Okay.
Miss
Is there anything else in this room?
No.
Okay, she's sitting on one of the slabs.
Okay.
Yeah, Miss is like,
Contemplating.
her thumbs.
it's like you can ask her on the communicator. There was another door. She probably, I don't know, ran over to it.
Alright. And the thought of doing magical D&D phone call is appalling, and since nobody else seems to be concerned, she'll just not make that phone call at the moment.
Oh my god.
Wonders, and she's like, okay, never mind.
I don't know when to make a phone call. It's anxiety.
So do you just hang out with everyone else, or do you go in search of Ren?
That's the most fucking relatable thing that's been said all night.
She's gonna try her sense of the place, but probably go wandering looking for Ren. while
Okay.
she's-
Go ahead and make a religion check again.
She
Oh,
wants
no.
it.
Nope. You find Ren.
Ren's just kind of sitting there. She's trying to figure out if there's any if there's anything else in this room that would mark it as something, or if there's anything on the walls or the ceiling, or if there's another door.
You can make a perception check.
Sure. If this doesn't work, she starts getting up and actually looking around so that I can roll investigation. Oh, never mind.
You look around, and this is a very sterile, boring room.
Alright. She gets up. She starts walking out of the room.
Probably
Nadia
worse
pops
than
into
Nadia.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ren bumps into her on purpose because she has that 10-foot blind sense.
Yeah.
So
So Ren's just
I
in
hope- Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
Ren is doing this because she expects Nania to move. When you're walking at someone, you just wait to see who moves first. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You two. Boop.
I'm so sorry.
this is a very boring room anyway.
What
It looks like a morgue. Where you would slap down some dead bodies and
I found more
Uh-huh.
weird jars. He hands
Oh.
Bran found the jar that he had to Nenia. I don't know what was in it. You might.
I can try and shuffle into at least one of the lit rooms to
Okay. Make an
carefully.
investigation. It looks like dried blood.
Oh boy.
Okay. Can she give it a careful whiff to
Yeah.
sensation?
It smells metallic.
Smells like it might have had more samplings in the whatever was going on in here. And she'll elaborate and like blood, and she'll be careful to cap it again.
Blood, huh? Is that all?
Yeah.
right. They had samples and a morgue. Maybe it was a
I'm starting to.
hospital.
Maybe you were more worried about the necromancers than we thought.
Wait, are we still in a different room?
Yeah, I missed is still in the other room.
Bran went with to go find Ren.
Okay, so
Oh,
Ren,
okay.
Nenny, and Bran are kind of in the center room close to the entryway to the room you guys are in. And you two are
Yeah.
still in the room with the
Laffy shouts back, I found meat!
Yeah.
Right.
She did find something squishy looking and gray. It is a very
They're
long.
giant fucking test tube things that people can fit in.
That's where I found the meat.
Ren's gonna start looking, like, actively searching for, like, documentation. What the hell was going on here?
Yeah, Miss still wants to look at these heads, see if there's any symbols on them, anything to discern what they are.
Both of you investigation.
Okay.
26.
Alright, Mist, you go looking at the little plinths, and you find that there are little boxes on each one. They're very
boy.
old, and 3 of them are made out of metal. One is made out of that strange, like, metallic substance, and the other 2 are... or the other 3 are just rotting away wood. They're nondescript boxes. The plinths look like they might have once held some kind of carving, but when you put your hand on it too strong, your hand kind of sinks in a little bit, so you pull your hand away.
Okay.
And Ren, as you're going around looking for documentation, you find the remains of what might be a journal.
Ah.
It's that, like, splayed out leather with that, like, bony quill. And you can't find any of the pages, or no pages that you can read necessarily. You do find scraps that look like they have long rotted away. And you look up, and you see that, right, like, up against the table that this is on, you see that there's more, like, gouge. There's another gouge in the wall. And in there you can see that there's more of these, like, falling apart, leather-bound journals.
Huh. And I'm assuming they all, like, equally look like the pages have rotted out.
Yes. But there's about 15 of them total.
Alright. She goes to Lothy. She's like, Lothy, I need to borrow you for a moment.
Ren, and then Luffy signs in Thieves' Can't. I. And that's it.
Ren gives her a blank.
What a message.
Ren gives her a blank look and then signs like, you've forgotten the word for what you were trying to say next, didn't you?
Oh, no, I just want to know what that meant.
It means I. She says
Like,
out loud.
Me eye or like this eye? And she points to her own eye.
And Ren is like, well, it depends on the context.
Yeah, Mist is looking
Oh.
at him like, what are you doing?
Nothing. What did you need help with?
Well, there's some books over here, but they've all fallen apart, and I'm
Oh.
not sure if they've, if there are some remaining that may need,
I would like to look at those. There's some weird boxes over here, though.
I don't understand how I'm gonna help.
You have gentle repose.
I do
No, I
too.
don't. Not anymore. I gave that up.
That was old Luffy.
Out of character. I thought that was a ranger spell too, and she was the last one I knew that had it.
Oh my god.
Luffy's like, alright, trade. I'll go look at the boxes.
Okay. Let's see if
I'll
we can
also go
preserve
look at the
book.
boxes.
I want to know what's in those boxes. I want to know what's in everything. All right, Ren, where are these books?
They're over here.
Nadia meanders over to the books as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Um,
I mean, if there are any, like, the idea was that if there are any books still, like, together, she didn't want to touch them before, like, someone
Yeah.
had touched them with gentle repose to prevent them from, like, falling apart at the slightest, like, breath.
Yeah, I mean, Mist was a scribe and a bookbinder, and she worked with a lot of old scrolls and old things that needed translating, so would she know how to, like, handle this stuff?
Make a... Do you have anything in sleight of hand?
No.
Okay, then make an investigation check with advantage thanks to, like, gentle repose and all that.
Okay. Alright, shit, I got it. Here we go. 19.
Okay, you cast the spell first, and this, like, kind of light greenish light extends from your fingers and over the books, and then you lean in and run your fingers over the leather bindings, and you find one that doesn't feel like it's on the verge of collapse. So you reach over and gently tug it out, and you spread it open, and you look down into it, and there are writing, or there is writing rather. Much of it is faded, and it's in an ancient form of Elven that's rather hard for you to read. What are your languages again, Mist?
Mist can read
Oh,
any language.
Correct. But again, what are your languages?
Let me find them. Oh, they're not on this sheet. Fuck, where's the other one? Sorry. Common, Elvish, Primordial, Novish, Dwarvish, and Deep Speech.
Okay. You can't identify what the language is, but you can read it. And without much context, it doesn't make a ton of sense. But as you scan it, it is speaking of experiments, and you see the word saving, and offerings.
She has this look on her face, like she's like, it's her eyes are slowly narrowing, and it's that look, like, yeah, this is what I thought.
You see a word. You see the word soul, and renew, and the rest is again without context. It's just kind of like scientific babble.
Okay. Yeah, well, she carefully, like, I guess, handles this book. She's thinking of maybe trying to restore it at some point later when everyone's sleeping and she's awake. But, she's like, yeah, so I could read some of this. A lot of it is strange without context and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. You know, it's like scientific jargon and all that. But they're talking about experiments. There was saving, offerings, soul, and renew. So, yeah, might be like some sort of, obviously, experiments, offerings of soul stuff. I don't know. Red, you saw those tubes, didn't you?
What tubes?
Right, you need to see those. They're weird.
Nenia, what are you doing, by the way?
She was keeping her distance, but watching Mist intently restore this book, and got her answer for what Mist could glean, and she pales to that and is gonna try to have a look around for any more, like, paperwork
Okay.
that she might be able to give to Mist.
Do an investigation. And Bran, what are you doing?
Brandon and Luffy were looking at the boxes.
Okay. Nenia, you hear a sound come from behind you.
Oh,
Don't.
Out in the big room where you came from.
no. Oh no.
She immediately looks that way. There's something out there.
Oh.
Ren is immediately at the door. She's like, I'm putting myself in front of the way.
Mist
Just,
has
like,
Vaden
front of the
go over there
thing.
too. And Miss says into the communicator, Nenia heard something. There might be something with us.
Oh, Laffy looked like she was about to stick her hand blindly into a box, but she refrains.
Yeah, Bran was about to watch her stick her hand in the box. She's like, well, I guess we can go check this out.
This is how Pandora's box was opened. Like, a crew of idiots like this.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so Ren, make a perception check.
Sure.
You don't see anything out there.
Does she feel anything out there?
No.
She goes out there.
Okay.
Mist has faith and go with Ren.
Ren, you look around, you scout around a bit. You don't see anything immediately.
She looks for anything, like, she starts, like, going around the room, checking for anything that's different.
Make an investigation. You start poking around, and you don't find anything different.
Alright. She comes back to the room and she's like,
At least we aren't dogs again.
Maybe you just heard something, or thought you heard something.
Maybe. I'm sorry. She's like come up to the door by now and was like watching Ren like a hawk and steps back.
you know what, she goes, she's gonna,
Mist
for
leaves
posterity,
Vaden out
for posterity, she checks the other two rooms that they're not in anymore.
Okay. Nenia, make a religion check. Okay. And Mist, make an arcana.
Oh boy. Oops. I keep having shit on like this. Sorry.
Re-roll that then. Okay. You look over and you see that there's like this greenish light gathering in the center of Nenia's chest.
Oh shit. Miss is like, Nenia, do you feel anything weird?
Oh, what? Does she feel anything weird?
You look down and you too see this green light.
Does anyone else see a green light?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Miss looks mildly alarmed when she's looking at Nenia.
Nenia looks very alarmed looking
Laffy
back.
looks at Bran to see if Bran looks alarmed.
Bran looks at Laffy and shrugs.
Laffy shrugs back.
Nenia, are you wearing that pendant?
No, she has it like in a side pouch safely.
Okay. Well, yeah, the center of your chest is glowing now. It's this kind of, it's still like this point of this greenish light, and you guys watch Nenia lift off up the floor, and her head just kind of lolls back against her neck.
Oh no. Nenia!
Call an exorcist.
And then there's a pulse of green light that pulses out across her and across the entire room. And it's not bright. It's just kind of like this just heartbeat of greenish light. And it pulses once, twice, 3 times. And Ren, in the back room, you see people start to move around.
Jesus Christ.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh my god.
And
Ren just stops. Like, actual people or like shambling people?
well, we're gonna take a quick break right there.
God damn it!
Oh my god.
Actually, does anyone need to pee or anything?
I gotta take my dog out.
Okay, then yeah.
I need
Yeah.
some Advil.
All right, yeah, we'll take a little break then. We'll be back in a few minutes, stream.
God.
Gosh.
I cannot believe
Just blame Shadow.
Yeah.
All right,
It is.
we're back. Hi, internet. We had to take a little breaky break. So, picking up right where we left off, Ren.
As all this is happening, Luffy says, "Remember what I said about minding our own fucking business for once?"
Anyway, yeah, Ren. In the back
Yeah.
room, you do see people. You see people moving around. The firelight catches them, and you can get glimpses at their faces and their bodies as they move around. There are people on the stone slabs. Make some perception checks, or make a perception check and tell me what you want to
Sure.
see.
Oh god. Oh no.
What do you want to see with a 6?
Are they dead? Obviously dead.
You take a long, hard look, and you froze like a scared cat the second this happened. They are very much dead,
Oh,
Okay.
but
man.
not in the way that you'd think.
Are they ghosts?
They are very much ghosts.
Okay. That's a little easier of a pill to swallow.
And you see them. You see several people moving around, and you see people atop the stone slabs, and you see that they're lying there, and they have like pale white sheets underneath them and laid atop them. And you see occasionally they turn and talk to somebody. And in some cases there's someone sitting by this stone slab speaking with them. Sometimes you notice that the people they're speaking to are these elves in these long green robes leaning over and speaking to these people. What are you going to do?
Does it look like they've noticed her?
Absolutely not.
Alright. She is going to, quietly just sort of backpedal, and she's going to, like, use the mental bubble on her face to, like, guys,
Okay,
like, very quiet.
Moving over to you guys.
yeah.
You guys are watching Nenia
Nenia
doing
doing.
that. And after the pulse of green light goes away, Nenia, you settle back down on the floor like nothing happened. And the rest of you guys, you see people in the room with you now.
Oh boy.
You see the room is more intact. It's cleaner, it's nicer, but it's an ethereal kind of surrounding. It's very clearly kind of wispy, like the physicality of it hasn't changed. And
Well,
you see three robed individuals milling about. One is at a table, bent over writing something. Another one is up against where these glass tubes were and now are again. And looking in with a notebook in hand, scribbling something down. And you do see that there is somebody inside of that tube.
Yeah. Well, okay. First of all, does Nenia look like freaked out, or does Nenia look okay? Does she remember this?
Yeah,
Nenia,
was she aware?
no.
Oh my god. Mist goes over to Nenia and is just like, "Are you alright?"
Yes.
You want to teach the rest of us how to do that?
She looks across the three of them and she's like, did you... What?
Mist kind of gestures around them to, like, the people, the ghost people that are now there, and is like, you know, you just did that. There's a green light from you, you floated up in the air, it pulsed like 3 times, and all disappeared.
And she looks around, obviously confused and bemused and surprised, and you can almost see that she wants to apologize, but she's gonna bite her lip and just look at everything speechless.
oh my.
Well, as long as you're okay.
Meanwhile, on the mental radio, hello? Is anyone there?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, Ren, hi. Nania just did something weird, and a bunch of, ghosts appeared?
Oh, good. I'm not the only one seeing this then.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, they're everywhere.
Where you are too, okay. Right. Miss is kind of, her eyes are everywhere when she's speaking, and she's trying to, like, take in what these people are doing while she's talking, and, like, next to Nenia.
So, we can all agree we are probably in the past, and we can figure out what happened here if we just pay attention. So let's, like, go on this crazy ride, and Luffy goes to find the most interesting looking thing to stare at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Miss stays with Nenia, but she's also trying to look for things to take notes on.
Bran-
Taking notes on the people taking notes.
Brant, what you doing?
Brand's just kind of like looking at the ghosts, like the fuck. What are they doing?
Okay.
Nanya too, but she's also just trying to come to terms that she apparently did this.
Okay, Mist and Luffy, you guys approach the ghostly individual in the green robes standing at the base, of the tube with a person floating inside of it. And you see that she has a notebook in hand and is scribbling something down while looking up at the person every once in a while.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Is it the tube that Luffy broke?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Oh my god!
But again,
Oops.
the tube is still on the floor, but there's this kind of ethereal, ghostly tube propped
Oh
up
yes,
against the wall.
a memory tube. What?
Yeah,
What's the figure inside the memory tube look like?
you can make a perception check.
Okay. 15.
Okay. It looks like an old elven man.
Okay, not familiar.
No.
Okay, just so Luffy looks at that and she's like, "Huh, that was all over my hands." She says to Mist offhandedly.
Yeah, Mist kind of glanced up at the guy, but she like gets up real close and she's trying to look over the person's shoulder to see what they're writing down.
You see that they're writing down the beginning of the book that you had opened. It's not the same pages, but you kind of get the idea that they're writing about preserving a soul.
Okay. Mist says that. She's like, well, they're writing about preserving a soul.
Yeah, that's some necromancy shit.
Yeah. This is the same book that I had before, though. So there's, like, also offerings and stuff going on here. Are they trying to, like... Perhaps we can discern if they're trying to make offerings to preserve the soul?
Perhaps this is back when people knew about the Realmix.
Right.
Uh,
I imagined so. Wait. Mister's gonna look at the cloak? Is there a symbol on it?
Make an investigation check.
Boy. We investigating everything. Damn.
Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, there's a symbol on it.
Oh boy.
And it's the tall, tree-like, symbol
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you know is associated with Gunther.
Yeah. Mist points this out to laugh, being like, yeah, you are absolutely right. That is Ganther's symbol.
Huh.
Mist, or not Mist, Ren, what are you doing?
She's still watching the room with the slabs.
Okay. You see these robed individuals wandering around these slabs. Sometimes they sit down and reach over to a nearby table, like a small bedside table, and pick up little vials and hold them up, and then hold them over to the person that's laying atop it. And the person takes the vial and tips it back. And they go from having this grimace of what, you're pretty sure was pain, to kind of a more serene look about them. You see... Well, you feel something strange. As you're standing there watching, you feel this blast of cold
Okay.
push through you, and it catches you off guard, and suddenly you see in front of you one of those green-robed individuals rushing past you with a small boy in his arms.
All right.
And
Bren's gonna follow that one.
Okay. As you follow, you immediately notice that the boy's missing a leg, and is bleeding pretty freely. He's got a white bandage tied off at the thigh where his leg is cut off, but it's soaked through with this... It's blackish due to the kind of ghostly nature of the scene, but it's very clearly bleeding, and the boy is unconscious. And the individual sets the boy down atop one of the slabs, and two of those robed individuals rush over, and they lean in, and they extend their hands out to the boy, and you see this soft green golden light emanate from their hands. And a moment passes and the bleeding has stopped. And
Alright.
they look relieved at this. And one of them stays by the boy's side while the other ones wander off to speak to the other individuals in this room. You turn around because you feel another one of those cold blasts go through you, and you look behind you, and there's a person that's cut open. Like right behind you on one of those slabs.
That's normal.
And you peek down, and there's a head sticking out of your torso. You shuffle,
Alright.
you shuffle
Yeah.
off to the side, like, what the... and you see that
Mildly alarmed.
there was somebody working, and you were just standing where they were. And you see that this individual has some of the tools that you had previously seen in the other room.
Like,
And they are wrist deep inside of that person. And there's
Ren's been wrist deep in a couple of people, so you know. With her knife.
Uh-huh.
With her.
Oh, jeez.
Phrasing.
And there are what any person in the army recognizes as like forceps, holding the person open with the individual very clearly gingerly roots around and snips something free with one of the knives you're holding onto, and places it aside, and then takes a little needle and thread and starts threading the person closed.
Alright. So this is sort of a hospital.
Near as you can tell, yeah, actually.
Huh.
Back to the rest of the group. Yeah, you see this old man floating inside of the tube, and there's people kind of moving around, not interacting much. Occasionally they lean down and whisper to each other. There's a few alchemic devices going on behind you. They're easily recognizable as, well, you know, things. I don't really know what they'd be called. Alchemic devices. And they seem like they're at work with something.
Yeah. Miss, are there people floating around in the other tubes that can be seen?
No.
Alright, so it's only one right
Yes.
now. The one that Laffy tied.
Yes.
Mist is kind of vaguely looking over these people, and none of them look familiar to her, do they?
No.
Okay. That's a relief.
Yes, they all look familiar, actually.
Oh god!
Look, there's your body's mom and dad.
Jesus!
Oh, my
Mist would hate everything. Yeah, so, like, she briefly switches views with Vathan, who's out looking where Ren had last been. Like, not where Ren is, but...
Okay, you
Like, in the
flashes
main
over to
room?
that, and you see people waiting out there. Some are pacing around, others are sitting with children or other individuals. Some of them look sickly, others just look like they're sort of here.
Okay. So that looks like a hospital waiting room, but then this looks like some weird shit.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Like, can Mist identify any sort of, like, magical instruments
No.
that are being used?
No.
Okay. That she wasn't really expecting to, but she was curious.
Yeah, no.
She's like, these people, so they're trying to preserve the soul, but they're not using any magical instruments for it. Miss goes over the communicator, is like, Ren, are you alright? You're seeing ghosts too.
There's, yeah, it's like surgery.
No magical instruments over there either.
I mean, they did some healing mumbo jumbo.
Okay. Huh.
Nania meanders that way.
Okay. Nanya, you head over that way, and when you pass through the main room, yeah, you see elves walking around in these green robes, talking to some of the people that are sitting there. Everyone in here is an elf. And when you enter the room Ren is in, you see much the same as she does. You see people all over being healed, essentially. Some are being given potions, others are having bandages applied. There's some people crushing or working away with the mortar and pestle, and then dumping the contents of whatever is in there in small glasses of what you can presume to be water. You see a young woman with her stomach bulged out, and she looks to very clearly be in a severe amount of pain. And there are two of these individuals working near her. One of them is helping her give birth, essentially. The other one is administering to her, trying to talk to her. You can't hear what they're saying, but you can see that they're saying something. And you can see that, as her mouth opens to scream, the person quickly dumps the contents of a vial in her mouth, and her head lolls back and she falls asleep, or what you presume to be sleep, as the person helping her give birth manages to pull out a child.
Pull out a child.
Yeah, just... you see somebody on another one of those tables, this gaunt, middle-aged looking individual, his skin pockmarked with these black festering scabs. And by and large, the curtains that separate each of these beds are drawn tight around him, and there are doctors, or what you presume to be doctors, moving around, speaking to him again. Some are speaking to him in what are obviously low whispers. They're hunched near him, and he looks scared. Very easily to spot scared. And one of the healers settles down near him and extends their hand, and there's a pale green glow that you recognize, actually. And it extends out from the hand and washes over the man's face, body, arms, legs, and as the light passes over him, so too do the pockmarked scabs fade away. You see all manner of illnesses and wounds being taken care of, and these people, by and large, look like they're taking care of pretty much everything that comes in. And you sidle up to Ren, and the two of you catch notice of something. You see, as you're kind of wandering around just a little bit, you see that there are about 6 or 7 people gathered behind one of these curtains. And you walk over and you peek in, and you see that there's a group 2 or 3 older-looking elvish individuals, 1 or 2 smaller children, all gathered around this bed where there's what is clearly an old elf, occasionally leaning up and coughing and looking very weak. And you see one of the healers is nearby trying to do something. You can't tell what. They're crushing up things in their mortar and pestle. They're brewing potions nearby. One of them even seems like they're about to start casting a spell when the old man smiles, leans back, and stops moving. And the whole family just kind of looks on solemnly.
Well,
Ren just kind
he's
of.
dead.
Nania pulls back, and it might look like she's reliving memories. Oh god, Cat, no.
Cat's like, yes, you are reliving memories of giving me attention.
Remember that time you gave me attention once?
Talking to you guys. Anyway, yeah.
I
So
see you typing.
Cat says hello, but anyway, no, she's taking this in, and where there's like magic happening, it's a little unfamiliar but comforting. But otherwise, it looks like she's kind of just reliving things that she's gone through, and she takes a step back from the curtains with the family and the deceased, and
A dead ghost.
a dead ghost.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she just kind of looks at Ren and looks away. She might be a little glassy-eyed, but she's a
Oh
little
no.
lost in the moment for what's
Ren.
very familiar to her, but not obviously.
Ren gives her like this little pat on the shoulder.
It's fine. It's just she gestures to it. She doesn't even know if she should call it a memory either. Just speechless, looking around.
This must be pretty familiar for you.
A bit. A lot like home, but a lot less elves. Oh god, child. Okay, sorry, cat.
You called your cat child. I love it.
And does she remember like the green glow that was on her chest? At
Yes.
least before things went wonky? Okay. She looks down at where that would have been if it's gone, I assume.
Yes, it is gone.
Okay, alright. And oh my god, I'm sorry, she's so like introspective and won't like say a word. I guess we should find out how I did this and why.
Well, and Ren like gestures to the back of their cloaks.
Yeah,
I imagine it has something to do with this.
right. Not a matter of a how. And she's bad at this adventuring stuff and just like trying to figure out an objective like everybody else does, and but also like severely distracted by how very familiar and like comforting this space is. And
Ren's just kind of looking at her like expectantly.
Nania, she's gonna do a look around. She's gonna try to focus on what's unfamiliar to her, and she kind of wants to follow around what the robed figures might be doing if they are doing any more than helping the sick in here, or...
Okay, make a perception check.
Okay. Uh,
Wow, Nenia. Just such a distracted little bab tonight.
God.
Yeah. It's still pretty easy to follow these individuals around, and the sights of the normal healing and surgeries, you don't pay those any mind. You know what those look like, and it seems those have not changed. But you do wander after the people using magic, and you see that they are clearly healing the ills of the most severe things. And there's nobody that isn't being fixed from the looks of things. There are people that are in more severe situations, like the individuals getting surgery performed. But even they are being healed with magic after the fact, being made whole. And you don't see many people dying here. It's all that in and of itself is a rather unfamiliar sight. In a room like this or in a place like this, there's inevitably a lot of death. But in here, there's not much. In fact, you don't see anything else other than that one time.
Okay. She takes note of this and looks down at her hands as if that's going to say something for what she's capable of now, but she knows better. And she looks back at Ren, and I'm gonna look around a little more. I think Mr. Fluffy and Brennan all found some interesting things of notes. Mr. talked about soul and offerings and preserving them, and she's rambling, and she's just gonna stop and like leave the room, get out of what's like familiar to her, and go across the waiting room and just kind of hang in the doorway of apparently experiment room where Mr. Fluffy and Brandon are.
Ren just kind of like looks at her with a slowly like lifting brow as she's talking, like arms crossed, like.
I'm so
All
sorry.
right.
She doesn't have feelings.
And then Ren's gonna leave that room and go into the first room that they were in with all the little plinths and stuff.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was the one with like shelves and racks.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Shelves and shit.
Okay.
Storage room.
Yes. Well, while you're moving over there, we're gonna go back to the other room. Yeah, you see somebody's taking notes. Someone is sitting at a table. And somebody's near the plinths, the little pillars, carving things into them.
I'm just gonna go over to see what they're carving.
Right, and
She was curious about that and the boxes, if the boxes were there.
Okay, make an investigation check.
Boy. Bad.
You lean down. Okay, you gonna luck?
Yeah, I'm gonna luck.
Okay.
Better.
the most useful feat in the game.
Yes.
Okay. You try to give it a look once, and the overlay of this ghostly image atop what is still real catches you off guard, and you blink and try and concentrate more, and you notice that the person is carving in the various symbols
Oh.
of the realmics. Each one gets a different symbol. It doesn't look like the boxes are in their place, though, as you don't see any like overlaid image. You just see the rotting whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay. So, question. Is her symbol on there? Like the outsider symbol? Is that on there?
No, but you see the
Okay.
kind of perverted one, or the doubled one, that you saw in the first temple that you visited.
Yeah, the one that's supposedly Leander's, but still kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because if the outsiders was there, she'd be like, what the fuck? Yeah, she kind of, like, vaguely gestures. She doesn't even know if anyone's, like, watching her or anything, but she's like, well, it looks like they're putting all the symbols of the Realmix on these things here. Can Miss see what, like, they're doing with it? Like, is there... One of them's being, like, carving stuff into them, but is there any that are finished that have, like, stuff going on with them?
The ones that have symbols carved into them are being left alone. There's somebody working on some, but the others that are seemingly complete, they're being left alone.
Okay. So, would Mist be able to discern that these are just sort of like idols in a way, like, you know, if similar to like if someone put a cross somewhere to indicate, hey, we're like showing, you know, respect for these entities' power or something.
She is free to think what she will.
Okay. She can't make a religion check or anything?
You can try.
Alright, she's gonna try. 26.
You've never seen anything like this.
Okay. Yeah, she sort of looks at him and she makes a face. And she kind of looks back to see what the others are doing, like if they've found anything of interest over there. She's keeping these things to herself for now.
Has Luffy seen anything interesting?
What is she looking for? Just interesting things?
Just interesting. She figures that they're here for a reason. She's got to find the reason.
You can make an investigation check. Actually, yeah, no, this would be perception.
Okay. 23.
You don't notice anything that Mist hasn't noticed.
Luffy's just chilling then.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Then Miss sees Nenya. Well, wait. Brand's in there too, right? Is Brand also just chilling?
Brand's just... He's
They're both
just kind of not really sure what to make of all this. He's just watching the ghosts do what they do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Miss looks and sees Nenya in the doorway and is like, Nenya, have you ever seen anything like this before?
She's like shaking her head before any words come out and just looking at this ghostly tube and everything's... absolutely not. And she'll step in now after giving the waiting room another look. And, she's gonna try to see if she can find anything of interest that might connect all this Panther stuff in some way. Anything interesting from ghostly alchemical equipment or...
Okay, make a perception.
Okay. Nanya, come on.
She's having a rough night.
Yes, apparently.
You mill about, looking around, and you see that the older man looks maybe a little deflated. Kind of like, he looks wrinkly, like, you know, when you've been in the tub for too long. That kind of wrinkly, not old wrinkly.
Okay.
And it's almost like things have been taken out of him. And there are a few jars nearby that are holding what look like to be ghostly organs.
Oh boy.
Ew.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, she didn't say that. um, I say that. No, she steps up to the tube and furrows a brow and looks over at the organs, and she's gonna look back at the guy and realize that this ghostly ghost man is probably not breathing, and this isn't like some holding tank for living people.
If no one has anything else they'd like to immediately do in that room, we're gonna shuffle the camera back over to Ren.
Ren is investigating.
Okay.
Okay. Ren, you're moving around that room and you see the ghostly remains, or the ghostly... I don't know what to call them, the opposite of remains. They are very clearly there in the ghost time. Those tools in jars, and you see that they are jars full of, like, fluid, and some of them also have organs within them. And you see two younger-looking elves in these green robes standing in one corner, talking animatedly. There's no sound coming out, though, but they are very clearly talking to one another. Other than that, it's just kind of... the room's much the same. Just everything in there looks like it was how it should have been.
Can Ren get a sense of what the two girls are saying?
You can try.
Sure.
That would be... I guess perception.
Hey.
You can't read lips. But you can tell that they are almost arguing about something. They both look very passionate, and one of them kind of has this sour look on her face, while the other one is looking like they're trying to convince her of something.
Are they gesturing to anything?
No.
Okay. Fluffy,
What? Yeah?
you can read lips, right?
Yeah.
What are these two arguing about?
I don't know, and Luffy meanders over.
Okay. Laffy, what languages do you speak?
Just give me a second and I'll Common, Elven, Abyssal, Draconic, Sylvan, Orcish, and Thieves count.
Okay. You recognize that they're talking in Sylvan. And you see that they are saying something about an experiment of some sort, and they're waiting on an offering from Realsh, and the other one seems adamant that this is a bad idea, this is awful. Well, the one trying to convince her of or she's talking to the skeptical one about these offerings and how important this is going to be, and how it could change everything.
Well, you see, that one over there is all like, oh, we should give the offerings to Rayosh. And the other one is like, no, that's a bad idea.
Correction. They're waiting on an offering from Rayosh.
Oh, wait, sorry, I'm bad at remembering shit. They're waiting on an offering from Rayosh. Anyway, one of them doesn't like that. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess I would either. Rayosh is a huge dick.
Yeah, he is. Ren leaves the room, goes back into the other room where the offering boxes are, and finds the one with Railsh's symbol on it.
Okay, this is the room everyone
Muffy
else is
runs
in.
over.
Yeah.
This is the room
Muffy
everyone
runs
else is
over.
in.
Yes.
Because she wanted to stick her hand in that box. I'm just saying.
Well,
Mist is looking at them like, what are you doing?
in ghostly version, there's no box there, but you run over and shove your hand into the rotting box that is atop the plinth that you can see has Raelsh's symbol carved into it in the ghostly version.
That was abrupt.
And your hand just goes straight through the box into the plinth and down to the elbow and into, like, rotten wood.
Fair. All right. Okay. Is there anything there?
You can investigate.
Sure.
It's just like, well, you pretty much destroyed that one.
Well, don't know me on strength.
You sloppily pull your arm out, and as you do so, it kind of crumbles like you karate chopped it real hard.
Yeah.
And you wiggle your hand, and there's this kind of nasty, waterlogged, old, rotting wood on your hand.
All right, that answers my question. So there was. It doesn't really look like there was ever any offering there, or was there?
You don't know.
Okay.
Maybe there was at one point.
Luffy grabs
It's like,
Ren's
what
hand by
are
the
you-
rib.
What? Were you looking for something? Like, you did that with a lot of purpose, Ren.
I thought there was going to be something there, and they're just. she just wiggles her hand.
Yeah, what?
Luffy's gonna grab that hand and she's gonna smell it. Does it smell like anything?
It smells bad.
Oh my god. Yeah, Miss looks at Luffy and is like, what do you think Ren was doing?
It smells
Luffy
kind. It
just-
smells. It smells kind of swampy.
Luffy just, like, smells the hand again and she's like, nah. And then she turns. Are there other boxes?
Yes, there is a box atop each of these plinths.
Luffy looks between the others. And she looks at Ren. And she looks at the box. And then she just shoves her fucking hand into another box.
Miss just
Okay,
like,
well-
she makes this gesture like, did you not?
There,
That destroys them.
there is
you
also. There is a box made out of, again, that strange, almost metallic material atop the sixth plinth that is about a foot away from the rest of them at the center. But you jam your hand down into one of the rotted ones, and again, just
Ren and Luffy are fucking idiots. and I
Miss
love
just
it.
looks at them, her hands are out, kind of like, what are you doing? It's just like, are you expecting to find something that way? You know,
Wait.
I've been wanting to do this for like 20 minutes.
fair, but I want to know what's in them besides, your hands destroying it.
Luffy, like, looks inside.
it's gross. Well, no, to you it's normal, but to everyone else it's a little gross.
Like, is it just, like, mud and stuff?
The one that you reached into, or the weird metallic one?
Can I just say both?
I mean, yeah, you can make a perception check in that case. Or
Okay.
investigation.
17.
Okay. The one that you shoved your fucking hand into, once again, just gross. Much like Ren, you karate chopped rotten wood in half. But you kind of jog over to the other one and you lift open the lid and you look in, and there is a symbol carved out of metal. And it is the same tree symbol of Ganther.
Uh-huh.
It's about the size of a fist. Or an open fist, rather. Not fist, open hand. Wow.
Palm.
Yes, a palm. Thank you. And
You're welcome.
it is whole and doesn't look rusted.
Okay,
What's
is
in
that on the
one?
lid or, like, in the box?
In the box.
And it can't be removed.
This one could. You can just reach in and take this.
Luffy reaches in, takes it out, and holds it out.
Okay. This box isn't made out of the same material as all the other ones. That's why you can just reach in and pluck this one. And you pick it up and you hold it up.
Hold it out.
Yeah, and there it is. It's a little warm to the touch.
It's still warm, which is really fucking weird. Yeah.
Miss looks at Nenia, then looks at the thing, and Luffy, and Nenia again.
Nania will step closer and try to do some magic feelsy sense.
Religion.
Luffy goes to put it right in Nenia's hands.
Oh my
God. Okay, well, that happens then. She will have a box in her hands.
Or the
Yeah,
Is it
just
a box?
the raw symbol.
Just simple, yeah. Yes, yeah. Okay.
Okay. The second it touches your hand, Nenia, the ghostly images vanish.
Oh.
But only for a second. They reappear, and you all feel that burst of cold air as someone comes rushing through you. And you see that there are boxes now atop each plinth, and this person rushes over with the other box, and they're wearing adventurer's leathers and look fresh off the road. And they hold out the box, and one of the healers of this temple takes the box and walks over and gingerly places it atop Rayalsh's plinth. At this point, everyone stands up from what they're doing, and one of them walks over to the door and clearly locks it.
Oh.
Ooh.
Sacrifice.
No.
And they, 5 others get up and walk over to each of these things, and they look at each other and nod. The room goes dark again. Well, not dark, the ghostly figures vanish. Then they come back, and this time the tube is drained, and the old man is actually propped up, kind of like a mannequin stand, but he's just in it. And there are 6 people, all holding a symbol of one of the Realmics. And on each one is a single word in Sylvan. Laffy, you and Mist can read these. Rayalsh's has the word soul on it. Sa'an's has the word barrier on it. Crove's has the word shape. Kost has the word everlasting. Gyanthur says renew. And Leander says thought.
Wait, I missed Relsh's. What was it?
Soul.
Wait, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Dallas, did you write that down?
I wrote down the words. I didn't have time to write down the realmics that they correspond to.
Rayalsh is soul.
Okay.
Sa'an is barrier. Crove is shape. Kas is everlasting. Gyanthur is renew. Leander is thought.
Okay.
Can you just paste that into
I
his
got it.
contract?
I got it. I'll format it in a sec. It kind of went nuts.
One by one, these individuals approach the man, and they touch each holy symbol to a different part of his body. Soul goes to his chest, and it's pressed there and is left there for a moment. It's pressed there and left there. Crove touches each arm once, and then is left atop the left arm. Sa'an is pressed to the man's stomach, and is left there. Kas gets touched to both eyes, and then left on the bridge of the nose. Gyanthur is pressed up to the man's throat, and Leander is pressed up to his forehead. Nothing seems to happen, and you guys actually sit there in silence for a solid minute or two, a little dumbfounded by what you've just seen, and you don't know what's going on. And then there's a brief flare of light from underneath each of these symbols, and the old man draws a sudden and deep breath. The scene fades out again. Everything in the room goes back to normal. And it seems like it's about to stay this way. And right as one of you is about to pipe up, everything comes back. But this time, the old man is there, he's wearing clothes, and he looks alive and well now. Healthy, even, and he's possibly looking even more spry than an old man should. And he's speaking in an animated fashion to all the individuals in the room, like he's telling a grand story of some sort. and they look enraptured. And then the scene fades away. And nothing seems to come back for the time being.
Useless.
Are you guys
Yeah.
are you just gonna wait?
Well,
what?
hold on. I'm gonna paste these things before I forget.
Okay. I'm giving you a chance to have your characters speak up if they're going to say anything right now.
Oh no, I don't have anything to say that isn't dumb.
Ren looks. I mean, she knows what just happened here.
Okay.
Wait, what? Ren looks what?
She looks like she knows what just happened
Oh.
here.
Okay, yeah.
The room fades back in, and the old man is back. And this time, I want Laffy, I want you to make a perception check.
Are his eyes glowing?
Make a perception check.
27.
No, his eyes aren't glowing.
Oh.
But he is talking to someone that you recognize from earlier, but they're looking much older. The individual that's sitting, the now old man, compared to the one that has been seemingly brought back, is still talking kind of animatedly, and the one in the green robes is just kind of smiling broadly. But the man that's talking is just exuberant. It seeps from his body that he is just so excited. It fades back out, and then it returns. The old man is now back again. He's wearing a different cut of clothing. It's a different fashion than before, and he's speaking to a much, much, much older gentleman. A man that looks kind of like the Crypt Keeper, with how old he is. The gentleman wearing the clothing, we'll call him Man A at this point. Man A is looking concerned, frightened, almost. It goes back out, and when it comes back, Man A is standing there with a young woman standing next to him and a child by his side. And the child looks an awful lot like what you can imagine this old man might have looked like when he was younger. And he's speaking to a handful of these healers now. And they're just kind of talking sorrowfully. And Man A he looks confused. Hurt, almost. The scene fades away. And now the older man is back. And he's with a young gentleman, probably in his early to mid-20s, if you were just to look at him and guess. The younger woman isn't with him anymore, and the two individuals are dressed in a different cut of cloth. It's still very foreign to you, but almost like something you've probably seen in Sigil. And the room around you, even the ghostly shape of it, resembles what you're currently now sitting in. It's less dilapidated, but you can recognize that there are certain signs of abandonment. You see the young man look up at his father, and you see his lips move. Laffy, you can see that he just says, "Don't." And you see Man A let out a sob, and take a knife to his throat, and slit his own throat and collapse and fall.
Okay.
The scene
Yeah.
fades, and you are back. The room is as it was when you first got here. Nothing else seems to happen.
Yeah.
So, anyone know what that was about?
This is a lot to take in.
That one guy, I'm gonna guess, lived for a real long time and then killed himself. I mean,
They were trying to preserve the soul, possibly to become immortal. And I think they succeeded somehow using whatever was in those boxes, the offerings from the Realmix or what have you.
yeah, and then he he offed himself.
Yeah.
But why?
Well, living forever probably is gets boring after a while, wouldn't it?
You see everyone, live and die. That. I don't know.
But he offed himself in front of his son.
Yeah, that's pretty dramatic.
I mean, even I'm not that dramatic.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, actually. Ren thinks back. Like, you know what? I take that back.
Maybe we shouldn't. Never mind. So,
Luffy, could you tell what he was talking about when he was so excited?
Max,
Make a perception check.
16.
It was hard to make it out because he was talking so fast, but he was very clearly excited and telling them that he hasn't aged a day.
Well, he was very excited about not aging, but that's all I could really garner.
Alright. So, he's either talking to people who were students of this sort of whatever they were doing, or he quite possibly was trying to convince them of the power of the Realmix. I don't know. Well, I guess we sort of know what happened here. Miss sort of glances over at Nenia, who is she's still holding that symbol, right?
She is. Is it still warm?
No, it's no longer
Okay.
warm.
Alright, well, she's still has a vice grip on it. Speechless. But, offering the occasional aha or nod to the conversation, she's she's listening. Not sure what to make of it.
Yeah, Miss just looks very thoughtful. Like she'd been scribbling things down the entire time that was happening.
Ren casually, she looks down at the symbol on her hand and she's like, why do you ruin everything? And goes back to, looking at everyone else.
Miss is just gonna kind of start pacing. She's gonna kind of go over to the spot where the guy did the thing and he died. and she's kind of wandering around trying to see if she can, as though wandering would give her any answers.
Is there still, a blood stain on the floor where he, bled out, presumably?
You can make a quick perception check.
Yeah. Miss is kind of looking at that too. She's sort of looking at okay, so what happened after this?
You look at that spot and you walk over and push away some of the dust and grime, and sure enough, there's a blood stain. It looks old and, coppery instead of red, but there's definitely a blood stain there.
Does it look like it trailed off anywhere? Does it look like it's possible that this guy just got up and
Yeah, Luffy's gonna
wandered
walk
off?
over. Luffy's gonna walk over and she's gonna lean towards Ren and she's gonna say, imagine if he just got up and walked away and turned into whatever you are, and he's still wandering to Earth to this day. And then she walks away.
Ren just kind of purses her lips like, thanks.
Yes.
There's no sign he walked away or anything.
Okay.
Question.
Yep.
When they were doing, like, I just, Nadia had space replaying everything. Assuming the guy had, like, cut stitches where they presumably removed his organs before they put him in the tube.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any, like, stitches or that weird, like, deflated look to his body when they were
No.
trying to revive him?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. Well.
I hate to think that they were studying him after the act.
Well, I'm sure they were. He probably came back and was excited about it.
Mm.
Oh, after death.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, do you think the meat I touched was him?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean,
Awesome.
Possibly.
This place looked abandoned, though, when he came back.
yeah. I mean, it had been ages. You could tell the clothing was different and everything. Like, did that seem like completely different fashions? Like, I mean,
Yes.
Mist's an elf, so she's seen ages go by.
Yes,
But-
it looked
yeah.
like very different fashions.
yeah.
It went from like kind of austere to the sort of ostentatious you would see in Sigil.
Yeah.
Like very peacocky.
Like Bran. I mean, what?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, Mister's like, that, it had been ages, like, a long time. I'm guessing that no one was here by then. Or at least very few people.
Or he traveled off-world and time went on without him.
That possible, too. Wait. Well, Mist has this weird look, and, she's gonna look at those books again, and she's gonna look for a particular thing. If there's, like, or the book that she has, one or the other, and she's looking for any familiar names. Not, like, familiar, like, that she knew them, like, personal familiar, but names she's heard before.
No.
Okay.
Guys, I would hate to be that person. But how is this helping us with the bigger picture? How does this tie in? Is this just like an incidental fucked up thing the gods did?
I mean, they didn't. Well, I don't know if they actually had a hand in it. If they did, they probably just wanted to see what would happen. But
I
we
mean-
know what the people who thought of them were doing. They were. I mean, they were helping people, but they were also trying to make someone immortal. I don't really know how this.
Was it immortality, or was it just trying to bring him back from the dead?
I don't know. I mean, they were trying to
It was
preserve the
probably-
soul.
Yeah, I think it was probably immortality.
But she's gonna keep a thought to herself.
Uh, from the hallway, Saint barks.
Yeah,
Off he goes, and she goes to check out what Saint's barking about.
yeah, Miss.
He's just kind of
Miss goes
looking
too.
like at you.
Fluffy looks at him, looking at her.
He wags his tail and barks again.
Should we rest?
Pats his
It's
head.
kind of
She gives
late.
him a head pat.
I mean, that was a lot to just see and go to bed or whatever, but, you know.
We gotta go back to our fucking horses.
Yeah? Is it? But, okay, so they were traveling, like, all day, and then it was, like, night. Like, how long has it been that they've been awake?
About, probably bordering on 21, 22 hours.
Yeah. Mist is like, aren't you tired? I thought you sentient entities got tired a lot sooner than this.
Not after that.
Fair.
And she's like staring at this broken tube, trying to make sense of like what even the fleshy thing in the tube must be. Timeline things, it's confusing and creepy.
Anytime someone's like, oh, how long have we been awake? I'm like, 8? No, not 8 hours. 8 hours is not the amount of time you stay awake and then get tired. 12 hours is even kind of eh.
So, do we just go back? What?
I mean,
We were looking
Okay.
for something with Gyantha. We found it. I don't know if this is what we were looking for, though. This isn't the tree. Nania, do you still have that thing? That symbol?
It's still very much clutched in her hands. Uh-huh. Why?
Bring that with us.
She looks like she wasn't happy with that idea, but she'll nod. Nothing like holding the other things.
It's just go along with it.
Yeah, it's fine. They know what they're doing, right?
Yeah, of course. Don't say no to the experienced senpais.
Yeah, Mist is gonna, like, she's gonna go over to the other boxes out of vague curiosity, like the metal ones, and she's gonna try to open.
Only Gyanther's was metal.
Oh.
The rest
I thought-
were squishy wood.
Oh, okay. I thought, like, a few were metal, and... Alright.
Just the one was metal.
Okay. Then, never mind. She assumes they're all gonna be squishy, gross things.
They're visibly squishy, gross things. You take a moment and you look at him and you go, yeah, I don't know, my friends didn't see that one coming.
okay, how come I had to roll to see if there were squishy, gross things, but now all of a sudden it's common knowledge?
Because Mist saw it happen twice.
Okay, yeah. So the Mist kind of like she looks like she's at a loss. Like she took down this information, but she seems like, you know, this might not be information that they could use right now. So she's just sort of like looking at the others like, you want to like go get the horses and do the mansion thing? I'm guessing you probably don't want to in here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sleep in here.
Yeah, no, I'd rather not sleep in here.
No.
Okay.
Bren just kind of shrugs.
Hmm.
Fluffy goes and just goes to leave. She's like, I'm bored.
Okay.
Yeah.
Laffy Saint follows.
Mist never wants to be the first one to leave a place and start wandering around. So.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, she's got that. She's like both got weird social anxiety and knows she'll get lost.
Yeah.
All right.
So she's following. She's
You guys-
kind of looking back at Nenny every now and then because Nenny is like spacing out real hard.
She's holding in her feelings. No, she's gonna wait until like everybody else goes because she just
Feelings, who needs them?
feeling. Yeah, I know. She doesn't need those. But no, she waits to bring up the rear this time. Kind of wants to.
Okay.
Revel in what's familiar. Okay.
One by one, you guys file out and head down the muddy path to where your horses wait patiently. Kind of placidly. The stallion eyes you miss, looking kind of grouchy. But the mare and the donkey are just kind of like, oh, people, right.
Yeah, does the mayor even know where it is?
You don't think so. You're pretty sure that thing gets by on luck alone.
Oh, that poor horse.
But Laffy, you reach into your pocket and you yank out the diamond and you carve your favorite little hole in the world. Sometimes you make fun shapes. Tonight you're just kind of like, here's a door. You slide on in, taking your mare, who follows along placidly. You idly think to yourself, I don't know if this thing even has thoughts anymore. And one by one, you guys all pile back in. And as the door shuts behind you, you hear a familiar howling noise come from the distance.
What?
It's Polka Dot screaming.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I was like,
the
wait,
usual.
are they out?
Yeah.
Was that outside or is that
Is that-
polka dot?
Is that Julian?
Yeah, Julian's come to visit us.
He missed Ren real bad.
He smelled his way here.
Ren just casually makes herself scarce.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Listen, I don't know how that went, but I'm sure it'll be awkward when they see each other again.
Yeah. But that's where we're gonna
Yeah.
end tonight. That went a little long, but hey, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, well, we'll see you guys next week, Internet.
Bye.
Goodbye.